260 mm of rain. Ang 260 mm of rain, kung sa indong nagirumduman, it can be equated naman sa bagyong milenyo na dinarang turan ng mga bagyong milenyo. Nag-abot po yan to 260 mm. If you will see in the map, ini ang mga blue portion, nagawa kitang dark blue, blue as in sky blue. Yan po ang mga areas na babahaohon kung mag-uran kay 260 mm of rain. Yung po ano, ini po na you could see it in the map. Yan, kung halimbawa umuran kay 386 mm of rain, ang 386 pwede ikumpara duman sa bagyong Yolanda. Itong uran na dulot ng bagyong Yolanda. Although, bakit man nga nagkita ang sentro kan Yolanda, pero nagdarain sa tuya kay 386.4 mm of rain. Kung mahiling mundo, nagdakula na po sa dark blue area, so light blue, nagdakol na sa sakop niya. And then, nagraral na po ang tubig baha, tapos nagpuuna sa mga river system na mag-swell. Gusto sabihin ko kanina, nabot na niya so itaas kan sa tuyang flood control dikes. And then, paano kung magkaigo kita kay 490.3 mm of rain? Yung 490 can be equated sa uran na dinara kang ining na kung saan halos mabaha na ang Legazpi. Itong dark blue, ang pinakalangkaw niyang inabot mga 1.5 meters. Siguro hanggang digdiyo sa...
Engineer,
yes?
pwede po na i-kanta. May nagkapera pong hapot lang.
Sige po, Father.
Araw po kayo din. Magayon nun po ang sa imong analysis, pero ipisilon po kita magbalik sa 100 years. Ipisilon po kita magbalik na 25 years. Ipisilon po kita magbalik na 5 years. Ano daw? That's the natural intervention, nature intervention. Saka, pihira man sana po yan. Ano po ang pinakamagayon igdi po, ang hapot ko, ano ang pwede tang gibuhon from an engineering point of view or from an agency point of view na ining sa tuyang dagat ay masyadong mapollute. Ano gigibuhon to sa mga polluters?
Yan po, maigo kita towards my presentation po. Sa mga later part kasi po yung PowerPoint, yan po yan duman. Ano po, Father?
Pwede po kita dumaman, nagpaparababa po sa imong signal, pwede po kita dumaman sa later part kan sa imong presentation?
Okay. Sige po. This is what we should be doing. Ito kita mga proposed program, projects, and activities as regards to our problem para sa tuyang mga river system. Dapat magiging kita edible forest meter park sa mga nasambit na river system na pwedeng makapag-control, mapalgayon sa tuyang river system, and then pwede tayo makuhaan ng pagkakan kan mga tao within the vicinity. Sarap man yung potential for tourism activities. Also, ang city nag-aisip man po kay iba pa mga projects similar o kaya parallel sa Esplanade. Ito kita nga River Edible Forest Linear Park, intended man nini o divisi sa Gamayon na maayos ini. Although pero imposible yung pa sa panahon tangon yan, but eventually iwa kitang plano, iwa kitang long-term na plan towards this na tapos ini nangangaip po kudakulang funding ng ma-realize po ni. And then we have the Edible Forest Park para sa Yawan River na dyan sa area niyan may mga bakawan, may mga kahoy, may bike lanes, and then atmosphere talaga niya, river, ano siya, park. Tanganing mabawasan ang soil erosion digdi sa Yawa River, na-identify kan sa tuyang city agriculture na along the banks of the river, tanuman to bamboo, na very good talaga digdi sa medyo mabuhangin na banks ng Yawa River. And then also, Cebu River waterland parks. Urban design din na makakatabang talaga sa pag-purify ng water before it ended up to the alveoli. And then, I think specifically is thinking of the coastal IEC center na kung saan tuturuan ng mga barangays, interested person na kung ano talaga ang effect sa tuyang environment towards our river system. Kung mga naka-pipe in na for implementation sa and then ang samuyang opisina naka-prepare na po yung mga project proposals, and then may costing naman po na nagibo ang City Agricultural Office towards this project. And then
magayon po, engineer, ang mga plano mo katapos magayon po ining dream na ini, baka man po ini impossible dreams. O dahil nagibo na po ini sa Metro Manila, ito pong sabi ko nga po, Pasig River Development Authority, nagibo po ini talaga, pag hiling tagarong imposible yun na maray, pero nangyari po sa mga tao naman sa estero, katapos naman sa gilid kang Pasig River, ginibuhan po baga, nagkaigaw pong housing program naman talaga sa ililipat. So sabi mo po baga dyan na ilipat ang mga informal settlers, inilipat po sa bayan ni Juan. Katapos duman man po sa Davao, actually, nagkaigwang easement, pero sa mga tao man, tinakwan man talaga ng housing program kang syudad. Ang kinakaipuan po hindi Engineer Ray, talagang political will.
Yes.
Sana mangyari po ini dahil sa Mandanas ruling, magkakaigwa na po talaga ng mga masasabi na po ang executive, ang mga local government units can really do something about this. Kaya ang sa'yo mo pong dream, engineer, bako man po impossible dream.
Opo. To continue, Father, ang Legazpi City identify man sa paglilikan sa tuyang mga kasalugan na dapat ibang technology na gagamiton. For example, magkaigwa ki trash booms. Ini deploy ang trash boom sa mga piling lugar sa chosen location along the river together with itong sarong kumpanya na plastic fisher. Yung device na ini na allow us to stop, collect, and manage the floating plastic waste in earlier journey to the ocean, keeping it from flowing into the large waterways. Kumbaga, tinatrap niya muna at certain points of the river ang mga plastics and other organic and mga pagpa na halod sa tuyang mga salog. And then kung magkaigo kita kay another technology na pag-approve na riverway, na kung saan stop niya ang plastic from floating downstream and visibly generate local awareness heavily populated sa mga European cities na pwede man tapuin i-adapt sa tuloy. And if pa makita kay Marine Culture Park, magayon na ang reading kan sa tuyang Albaygol. Igwa kita na project na ang Legazpi dapat magkaigwa ki Marine Culture Park, keribahan ng pagtanom pang
may naka-on kitang may naka-on kitang microphone, paki-mute do tabi si Sen, may naka-on kitang padisiman. Go ahead po, engineer. Engineer, pwede po paki-wrap up na lang po in more or less mga 1 minute, please.
Okay.
Go ahead, po.
So mga importante lang, dapat nagagawa kita mangrove rehabilitation, dakulang tabang po ini sa tuwing environment. And then, para naman dito sa Barangay 24, Food Forest Park. And then, ma-support kita sa mga urban greening kan mangroves sa Legazpi City. And then, to collect all these surplus water na hali sa mga watershed iko-collect ko ini na maging ako doon na Buragwi Sunken Park. And then, so mga sa po yung informal settlers na along the riverbanks, ikukulokwarta na po sa po yung element housing na sa po yung identify na tanganing may freedom na kita na mag-access kan sa tong river sa mga banks. And then, ini yung mga arong na ini, dahil man po ining tatao na lipo sa mga beneficiary, kundi babayadan maninda ini long term. Tapos, ang lokal na gobyerno makakasave man ki pundo kung igwang mga kalamidad, kung oras sa mga kalamidad na pag-relocate sinda, nag-generate po kita kayang gastos. Kung sinda nakakulokar na dyan sa tamang lugar, mababawasan na ang gastusin kan sa tuyang lugar na gobyerno. And then, mas marami na pag-adalan ang sa tuyang PAWA Critical Watershed Master Planning and then ang Taisan Watershed Master Planning para ang pag-adalan tayo ni mga river systems na ini, igwa na kita kung dokumento na aputan na madali na sana na sa itong i-refer when we are going to plan for our next activities. Yan po, salamat po.
Yeah. Opo, thank you, Engineer Rico. Engineer, may isa lang akong gustong i-accommodate na reactions or questions from our former boss, Art Osia. Nagkatuto kaya sa ngunyan sa Facebook Live. Sabi niya,
Yes.
sabi ni Boss Art, there are 5 years recurrence. Is this an average recorded recurrences in Legazpi City as far as rainfall recurrences is concerned? Another one, sabi niya po, may dinugtong siya. Another sandali, nasa Facebook si Boss Art. Another rise of question, according to Engineer Rico, the Sagamayon River is traversing across the urbanized area. Then, therefore, the density of contamination expected to high. What measures then be considered to prevent the contamination of the said river from the waste of the people or residents of the urban area? Engineer Rico, reaction please.
Okay. So ito the question ni Sir Art. Itong data na present ko sa bago, hali man po ito sa pag-asa. Ito pinag-iaralan man ito kan International Panel on Climate Change kung ano talaga ang intention talaga kay ito mga 25 years sa recurrent period, 25, 50, 100 years is for planning purposes. Kung kita maplano, it's might as well na we must plan for the worst scenario kaya because ang intention naman talaga is to save lives and properties of our people. And for the next question, hindi yung Sagamayon River System, Sagamayon Makapalo River System. Nag-aakit talaga ini sa mga highly dense na areas of the city. Ito kita dakulang ang maitatabang kang information, education campaign. Hindi tanganing may dukaranan mga tao sa pag-aalaga sa tuyang river system and then higher penalty sa mga violators and then mas lalotang paigtingin ang sa tuyang monitoring ng river system kung for example so mga harong na harami dyan sa mga salog na nagtatapok kan sa iyang wastewater as in sa iyang septage waters dyan sa river system dapat yan halion kang City Engineer's Office as in o kaya magpaplano po ang city government na sa mga lugar na ini na magibo kita ki project na communal na septage management. Ang sa indang mga ati ipapipe in pa sa common na the both dyan sa barangay para dahil na magparatapok sa salog.
Yeah.
Tapos i-regulate man ang kadena, ang mga pigs, pig pens, mga tangkalan na nyaon dyan sa river system arani. Kung sa tuyang igusa na kita kay mga allowed to perang 9 o 8 heads for backyard farming para sa tuyang mga pag-alaga sa tuyang mga babuyan. Dakula talaga ang may tatabang kan education sa to kasi you cannot teach old dogs new tricks. Kaya mas marami na include sa satuyang criteria sa tuyang educational system, sa tuyang mga elementary, high school na ang subject matter on tamang pangangalaga ng ating mga rivers. Tapos involve these children sa paglinig. Kung sila mismo ang malinig ng salog, may pagbakulong, ownership of the project, and then masasabihan nila, Mama, Papa, dahil na kami magparatapok kay ati sa salog, nakupunta ka mo.
Yeah.
Tako niya, tayo yung mga gururang na difícil na po yung magbago. Talaga, pero kung anaki ang nagkatamuyaw sa mga magurang, nagtutugod po ang mga. Kaya let's begin with the youths and then yung mga kakihan na sa tuyang udukaran para sa tuyang komo. Ini ginigibuta para ba sa naini sa inyong future generation. And iba pa kimain na mga dakol na projects when it comes to environment sa pag-enhance kami at yan isasabi ko yung engineering sa iyang mga projects para ikatagdag. Nasabi niya sa mga committee hearing na duman sa boundary kandaraga ligas po magkakaiwalay kong kidakulang saraan tanganin ito ng ate na alip duman sa upstream dahil na magpasilong hindi sa low stream. And then hindi man sa downstream sa Satuya sa jurisdiction ng Legazpi City, kita man po ang mga pulis kang mga river staff. Kung ang mga barangay may additional budget na sila, they can hire people na magbantay kan sa Toyang river system. Nagulong sa environmental police na policing our river system. Kasi siya man nagtapok kami, may na license.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Itong multa ninda, pwede na ito na sweldo sa inda na dahil na magastusan ang barangay para sa indang it's mindset lang yun total 180 na pagtabiri tanganing magbago talaga kita. It will begin sa Satuya ang gabos na yun. Salamat po.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Engineer Ray Benedict Rico, Technical Head of the Environmental Sector of LCPDC, the Project Development Officer 4 of Legazpi City Planning Development Council, City Planning and Development Council, and sarap po siyang Civil and Genetic Engineer. Marimar? Thank you.
Bago ang mga sitwasyon and siguro mo niyan engaged na sa mga kababayan anong pwede nindang gibuhon?
Yes, that's correct.
Presentar kang gobyerno sitwasyon presentar ko anong pwedeng gibuhon ninda mga plano, but then sabi nga ni ining problema ini dapat ma-engage ang komunidad. Daw siguro tawan-tanan ng panahon mo niyan VP kung ano ang maramata kung ano dapat ang gibuhon. Okay. So this time
this point mga tugang ipamidbid na po sa tuyang next speaker. Kanya na pagkaaga, saro po siya po ang project manager kang Healthy Ocean Clean Cities Initiative UN Habitat Philippines. Mga tugang, let us welcome and listen to the chemical and environmental engineer who has 20 years of experience in environmental projects and policies. Engineer Voltaire Acosta for his talk on Healthy Ocean Clean Cities Initiative. Engineer, magandang
welcome.
Hello, good morning po. Just marhay na aga sa inyong gabos. And salamat po sa pag-invite. Good morning, Sir Henry, Father Momy, Sir Glenn. Basta po. So, I'll be presenting po yung tukol naman po sa marine litter. I'll be sharing my screen. Nakikita na po?
Yes, sir. Very clear po.
So, yung mga nauna pong presentation, na-discuss po nila yung tungkol dun sa overall ng ambient river quality, no? Kasi yung mga basura o yung mga pollution naman na nadadala natin sa riverine systems or rivers, katulad ng Sagumayan Macabalo River, nag-e-end up din naman yan sa sa gulfs like yung Legazpi Gulf at napupunta yan sa world's oceans. So ang topic ko po ngayon ay yung marine litter component ng marine pollution or yung river litter component ng riverine pollution. So ang aking pong agenda for today ay bakit po tayo dapat maging concerned sa marine plastic pollution? Ano-ano yung mga marine litter issues na dapat natin pagtuunan ng pansin para makagawa tayo ng mas maayos na solution. I-introduce ko lang po briefly kung meron na po tayong National Plan of Action on Marine Litter and yung about the Healthy Oceans and Clean Cities Initiative kung saan ang Legazpi City ay isa sa aming 6 na aktibong partner city sa Hochi. Of course, good morning Mayor Noel Rosal and the city government and local stakeholders ng Legazpi. So just a brief background, bakit tayo dapat maging concerned po about plastic pollution? Kasi narank po ang Pilipinas bilang ikatlo, minsan ikapito, at yung pinaka-latest study, tayo yung top plastic polluting country sa buong mundo. So tayo yung pinakamaraming plastic na nadadala daw sa karagatan ng buong mundo, buong planeta. Pero sabi nga po natin sa ating NPOA-ML, kailangan pa po carry out ang Pilipinas ng sarili nitong definitive baseline study using the actual baseline data sa local level.
That is something that we cannot be proud of. That is something that we cannot be proud of.
I know po. Medyo yun po ang on the one hand, kailangan po natin talaga magkaroon ng sarili nating impormasyon sa Pilipinas para makagawa po tayo ng karapat-dapat ng mga proyekto para matugunan ito. Pero on the other hand, yung pagbibigay ng sa Pilipinas, nininame ang Pilipinas na plastic polluter, top 3, top 7, or top 1, ang maganda naman po doon, silver lining na-raise yung awareness ng importansya na i-address itong marine plastic pollution. Pero of course, I agree with you po, hindi po tayo dapat maging proud doon. So, ang basic definition of terms po, litter, alam natin yung litter misplaced na basura. Ang marine pollution po, malaki po yan. Kasama po yan yung mga pinresent kanina, yung mga sewage, yung sludge, yung fecal coliform, yung nutrients, iba-ibang klaseng pollution. Pero ang litter po, yung mga hindi nabubulok. Yung po yung mga tumatagal sa kapaligiran na sad to say, minsan isang beses lang natin gagamitin, pero 100, 1,000 taon, andyan talaga yan. Katulad po ng plastic at ibang materialis, hindi lang plastic, may rubber, meron din po tayong mga lata, mga glass na napupunta sa ating ilog at karagatan. So ito po yung tinatawag na marine litter or riverine litter din. Ano po yung mga issues? Napakarami pong issue nito nung ginawa po ng DNR, ang National Plan of Action, marami po talagang mga ikinonsidera. Una, yung gyres, yung tinatawag dating gyres sa Pacific Ocean, for example, may paikot-ikot talagang circulating currents dyan. Tapos may na-discover sila sa mga satellite images, may mga plastic, tinatawag nilang plastic islands. Pero
yes,
nalaman
mga
natin
isla, bagong isla ng plastic.
Yun po, mga bagong isla na pag tinignan mo sa satellite, okay, parang may bagong mga isla na lumitaw, hindi true volcanic.
Isla basura.
Isla basura. Although lately po, ang mga nadidiscover po lately ngayon ay microplastic soup ang tinatawag dito. So parang hindi talaga siya yung natutungtungan ng mga isla, pero parang umiikot-ikot na mga parang sopas ng basura sa ating karagatan. So nakakalungkot dito.
Kaya malaking kasiraan din yon sa mga isda, tapos maraming sa mga marine life. Matindi po ang epekto niyan sa marine life.
Tama po kayo, Father Momoy. Ito po ang picture na kasunod na to ang ipapakita ko about marine life. Saktong-sakto. May mga, kunyari po dito sa Southern Philippines, may na-discover po na balyena, na baby balyena. Tapos nung namatay, tapos nung dinisect po yun, nakita merong plastic sa kanyang katawan at kung ano-ano pang mga nakain niya, na-ingest niya. Katulad po nito na parang agricultural plastic waste po yata itong nasa picture na to na ginagamit sa And then ito po yung mga nakakalungkot. Ewan ko po kung nakikita ninyo, yung ating turtle, kasi yung ating mga turtles hindi nila ma-distinguish yung manipis na plastic sa mga ordinaryong seaweed. Eh. So minsan kinakain nila hanggang mamatay sila. Etong dolphin, makikita nyo po sa litrato, yung dolphin ay biktima ng 6-pack rings. Ating mga soft drinks, mga beers, beverages. Pag naitapon po yan at napunta po yan sa karagatan, ayan, na-entangle sila. So ingestion, entanglement, yun po yung mga nakakalungkot na impact na rin.
Kaya po pala Engineer Voltaire na ang pagbili natin hindi lang po ito basta-basta economic act kundi moral act. Kasi halimbawa bibili ka ng soft drinks, bibili ka ng tubig na naka-plastic, naka-bottle, single-use plastic. Akala mo simple lang itatapon mo. Pero imagine ang epekto niyan sa ocean 1,000 years. Katapos yung mga isda na kumakain ng microplastic, bumabalik din sa atin. Kaya hindi po ito basta-basta na kinakailangan involved po ang lahat. Hindi na po ito awareness na kinakailangan. Ang awareness na yan mag-epekto sa change of behavior natin.
Tama po kayo dyan, Father Momoy. Kasi kailangan pong malaman ng lahat ng ating mga tagapakinig, ng ating publiko, na binigyan po tayo ng Panginoon ng tamang pag-iisip para mamili, yung tamang pagpili, yung na choices sa ating buhay.
Opo.
Bibili ba tayo nito? Kailangan ba natin ito? Hindi naman. Pwede pa natin magamit pa uli. So, tama po yun. Dapat po talaga pag-isipan po natin mabuti. Ito po yung sinasabi nyo, yung single-use packaging. Isang beses nga lang talaga ginagamit. 5 minutes mo lang gamitin pero 1,000, 10,000, ilang libong taon nasa kapaligiran pa rin. So may mga issues din po about tourism. Siyempre po may mga bisita po tayo. Minsan mahilig sila, siyempre kunyari sa mineral water. Minsan mas gusto nila safe yung drinking water nila, so they would prefer yung mga mineral water bottles. Pero meron po ba tayong pwedeng magawa? Mamaya po i-discuss natin dito. Pero ito lang po yung mga issue na lumalabas sa marine litter.
Perception lang po yun na ang mga bottled water is safe. Perception lang po yun na ang bottled water is healthy. That's only a perception, and most of lahat ng mga perceptions, karamihan po ay mali.
Tama po kayo dyan, Father. Actually, yun po yung ini-establish natin ngayon kasi yung perceptions na yan, ano yung knowledge, ano yung attitudes, and ano yung practices ng mga tao. Yung din po yung mga pinag-aaralan din natin sa pagde-design ng tamang programa kasi tama po kayo, yun yung nakikita natin sa tourism, yun yung ina-expect nating attitudes ng tao. Pero meron nga ba talagang pag-aaral kung ano talaga yung knowledge, attitudes, and practices nila towards paggamit ng mga iba-ibang mga materials and packaging materials also. And hindi lang naman po plastics ang problema, makikita niyo po ito metal, mga tin cans, mga lata, ayan, problema din po yan. Hindi po talaga nagde-degrade, tumatagal po. Ano po yung mga epekto nito? May issues din po about localized floodings kasi sabi natin na ang pinaka nagiging sanhi talaga ng pagbaha ay poor urban planning. Pero masisigurado po natin na yung hindi tamang pangangalaga, pag-manage ng basura, nakakadagdag o nakaka-aggravate ng sitwasyon. So nasa isang flood-prone area na nga po yung isang lugar, may mga nagka-clog pa ng mga basura, mas tumatagal ang subsidence ng mga bahay. So ganito rin po sa about infrastructure. Makikita nyo po yung mga materials na naitatapon, ang dami po dyan, mga resources talaga eh. Ngayon, kapag masyadong medyo hindi tama yung pangangalaga ng sanitary landfill, umulan lang ng konti, boom, garbage light po ang labas. Meron din po mga sa international level na transboundary movement ng waste. Siguro po nakakarinig din naman po kayo sa ating mga balita na mga basura na mula sa isang mayamang bansa na pupunta sa mga mahihirap na bansa. So isa po yun sa napapag-usapan sa international level about yung transboundary movement. And pandemic. Alam po natin,
lalo na itong mga face mask na to.
Opo, kailangan po natin ng face mask. At yun po yung mga kailangan po natin ng face mask, kailangan po natin ng face shield. Pero meron po bang paraan para ma-manage siya ng tama? So meron din naman po ang DNR, DOH at DILG na memorandum circular kung paano yung tamang pagtatapon nitong infectious or potential infectious na waste. Pero ang isa sa mga realidad, nakakarating na po siya sa ating mga coral reefs sa ngayon. So isa po 'yan sa mga issues na lumabas nung aming pinag-uusapan.
Hindi lang po coral reef. Siguro isa din ito sa mga dahilan kung bakit dumadami ang COVID cases.
Exactly po, tama po kayo, Father, kasi infectious or potential infectious to tapos yung din po yung isa na pag-usapan namin na kung hindi ipa-follow ng mabuti yung pandemic waste related guidelines ng DNR, DILG at DOH, kawawa rin po ang unang-una pong frontliner natin dyan ay ating mga waste collectors. Hindi nila alam na yung basurang hinahawakan nila. Posible. Hindi naman po natin sinasabing meron, pero posible. So, isa po yan sa ating moral responsibility bilang mamamayan. At speaking of moral responsibility, tingnan niyo po yung people's behavior. May mga bawal magtapon na ng basura dito, pero tapon pa rin dyan. Minsan nga, diretso pa sa ilog eh. So, yun po yung mga ating binabasa. And then resource and waste management. Siyempre, hindi naman po ganun kalaki ang kakayanan ng ating mga lokal na pamahalaan at national government. So, dapat po magtulungan lahat ng stakeholders. Kung mamamarshal natin ang efforts ng lahat, mas konti ang basura na kailangan ayun. Lalo na makikita nyo mga recyclable. So, tingnan nyo po yung mga recyclable plastics na yan. Saan po galing ang plastic? Ano pong material ang ginagamit para makagawa ng plastic? Crude oil po. Pareho lang ng material na ginagamit natin sa diesel, sa gasoline, galing din po yan ng crude oil. So sayang, may heating value ang mga type ng plastics na yan or nare-resiklo pa, madali naman po siyang maresiklo. So yun po yung mga konsiderasyon. May mga regulation ng mga plastics, ng mga iba-ibang type ng materials or packaging, hindi lang plastic. So ingatan din natin kasi kapag nag-regulate tayo kunyari ng plastics, baka dapat nating isipin palagi, ano yung gagamitin ng mga tao kung sakali. Maganda, eco bag, for example. Kung may option ng tao na gamitin or mag-reuse ng mga materyales, mas makakatulong sa pag-implement ng mga.
Alam mo po, engineer, isang mall dito, yung, I think yung LCC, bumabalik na sila sa packaging ng mga dahon ng saging o kung iba pa, bumabalik na sila doon as much as possible. Unti-unti nilang inaalis ang plastic na packaging.
Yung huli ko po punta ng Bicol, ang nabili ko po ay yung pili, yung sweet pili. Naka-wrap po siya sa isang mabango yung tahon. Hindi ko alam kung anong klaseng tahon ang ginamit, pero nakadagdag pa po ng flavor ng pili. So, maganda po yan. Supportahan po natin. Pandemic po ngayon. Marami po mga naghirap ng mga tao na wala ng trabaho. Kung makakatulong to ay mag-create ng ganong klaseng green jobs, napakaganda po para sa atin. So, green consumerism isa rin po yan sa atin. So, isa pa naman pong is sari-sari store. Hindi lang po sa Pilipinas ito, karamihan sa Southeast Asia, merong retail economy. Bakit? Ako po, galing po ako sa hirap. Tricycle driver yung tatay ko, teacher yung nanay ko. So, kulang kami sa pera. So, hindi namin alam at that time na if you're not buying in bulk, medyo mas napapamahal ka pa. Pero anong magagawa ng mga magulang ko nung time na yon? Kung pang-ulam namin, noodles, o sige, bili ka ng noodles o ng tuyo. Lahat yan naka-single-use packaging eh. So, isa po yan sa dapat i-considera. Paano natin kasi kailangan we work with the system eh. Meron tayong sari-sari store culture or retail economy. Ano yung mga pwede nating i-introduce na ways? May mga nakikita ko mga walay usik program sa Negros. Tinatry nila yung refill station sa sari-sari store. Although nasa mga pilot testing. And let's face it, may mga products talaga na ang tagal mag-degrade pero kailangan natin eh. For example, itong galon, nung nawalan kami ng tubig sa Quezon City, napabili ako ng drum ng galon kasi kailangan ko store. Advantage nitong plastic drums na to, lightweight siya at madaling buhatin, madaling ma-manage. Pero of course, yung post-consumer management nito, kailangan pong pagpunan. At yung pinaka nangyari, nagkagulo-gulo yung buong mundo, no, yung China, nag-decide na hindi na sila tatanggap ng plastic scraps. Yung talagang raw plastic scraps na madumi. noong 2018. Kaya nagkagulo sabi ng mga bansa, saan namin dadalhin ngayon yung recyclable? Because for how many years, sa China po, ang tumatanggap ng mga recyclable plastic. Sila yung nagre-recycle. So parang ang isang oportunidad dito, mas strengthen natin yung domestic recycling industry. Ngayon, papasadahan ko pa lang po ng konti yung bagong National Plan of Action natin for the prevention, reduction, and management of marine litter. Mainit-init pa po ito, galing po sa Pugon nung August 5 lang po at napirmahan po ito ni Secretary Simatu na ang plano natin ay by 2040, zero waste to Philippine waters. Ibig sabihin, baka wala na tayong masyadong magawa, clean up na lang kaya natin gawin sa mga basura na nandun sa karagatan at sa ilog. Pero ang plano nitong plan na to is wala nang dadagdag na basura sa Philippine waters, mapailog man yan, mapagulf man yan, o mapadagat man yan, by 2040. Yun po yung pinaka-overarching goal nito. Nung inanalyze po ng DENR ito, EMB at BMP po yung nag-tandem nito, together with 80 other stakeholders, Fisher Folk, Coast Guard, NGOs. Ang sakit sa ulo po ng marine litter, ang dami pong issue may social issue, may economic issue, at may of course environmental issue. Huwag yun na pong pansinin yan, pero kasi ito na po yung napag-agrihan out of that systems analysis. So una, baseline. Ang sinasabi po ng ating NPOA-ML, hindi mo masasolve yung problema kung hindi mo alam yung baseline. So example po nito, yung sa Legazpi City, isa sa mga pioneers na nag-conduct ng waste flow diagram at waste analysis characterization study na connected sa waste flow diagram. Kasi po ang ating waste characterization study, generation lang yung pinag-aaralan. Pero yung waste flow diagram, tinitingnan saan napupunta, ilan yung nare-recycle, ilan yung natatapon, at ilan yung nililik sa ilog. Meron din pong hotspotting, so titingnan po natin aling parte ng ilog maraming plastic or maraming basura in general. Dagdag na lang po yun dun sa ambient water quality na ginagawa po ng regularly ng ating local government unit at DNB. So dito nakafocus sa litter or yung hindi nabubulok na basura. Ikalawa, nag-focus po sa sustainable sustainable consumption and production po. So may responsibilidad pareho yung manufacturers, katulad po nitong example na to ng courtesy of Nestle Philippines. Nahanapan pa nila ng paraan, hindi nila ma-eradicate yung sachet, pero nakagawa sila ng paraan para bawasan yung sobrang packaging. Hindi mo kailangan ng sobrang packaging Kung ano yung magkaso sa produkto, bakit hindi mo ma-optimize yung laki? Or changing the default behavior ng consumers at retailers. Katulad po ako, consumer, namimili ako. Kapag meron kang sir, kailangan nyo ng plastic spoon and fork? Hindi. Kasi take out siya. Or may dala akong sarili kong canteen. Pero meron ding default behavior ng retailer. Minsan bumibili ako ng tapsilog. Hindi ko napansin pagdating ko na sa bahay. Doon ko na lang nakita na meron talagang pinasok na plastic spoon and fork na hindi ko kailangan. Hindi, tinapon ko lang din naman. So, yun po yung isa sa mga pinopromote itong NPOA-ML, sustainable production para sa manufacturers at retailers at sustainable consumption sa bahagi naman natin mga consumer. At parte po ito ng United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Ikatlo, anong magagawa natin kapag, syempre, kunyari, part pa rin, importante ang packaging sa buhay, pero na-generate natin, hindi natin na-avoid, katulad ng sa strategy 2. Ano tayo ng paraan para ma-recycle pa or ma-reuse? So may mga segregated bins katulad itong sa Legazpi, at actually believe ako dito kasi ito po yung national na nag-follow sa national color coding guidelines ng Pilipinas. Blue ang recyclable, black ang residual, at green ang nabubulok. And then may mga initiatives din po like MRF, recycling facilities, private sector initiated, barangay initiated, na ini-enhance pa niya yung recycling. At syempre, kapag nagre-recycle ka, kailangan mo ng business model. Hindi pwedeng recycle ka lang ng recycle. Kailangan may pagdadalhan ka. Markets. So, importante po yun. Konektado lahat ng system kasi kung hindi, baka hindi siya sustainable in the long run. Maging white elephant po nga. Ika-apat, may mga basura po na nakolekta na or naitapo na sa ating landfill. Paano natin ma-ensure na hindi iyan, kahit na nakolekta na or naitapo na, hindi yan mapupunta sa ilog pa rin? Or hindi mapupunta sa dagat. Konting bahalang or something. So, yan po yung lumalabas yung training ng ating waste collectors, ng pahinante, ng palero, at saka yung tamang pagmamanage ng sanitary landfill. Hindi yung tipong liliparin basta-basta kasi isa po yan, pag nilipad or na daanan ng tubig, punta yan sa creeks at canals at Ikalima, hindi lang po lahat ng mga basura ay galing sa land-based sources katulad ng ating kabahayan. Meron din po tinatawag na maritime sources like fishing nets. Yung uncle ko po sa Zambales, siya po ay mangingisda. So tinatanong ko nga siya, paano mo tinatapon Kel yung fishing nets mo? So technically siya, repair pa rin siya ng repair kasi mahal ang fishing net. Pero sabi ko, ano yung end of? Kasi ang problema, pag naabunda na yung mga fishing nets yan sa karagatan, ang purpose ng fishing nets is mag-catch ng fish. Intentional. Kapag pahara-hara yan sa dagat, unintentionally, nakakatch niya or pinapatay niya or tinatrap niya yung mga marine life, which is bad. So, dapat magkaroon ng management nitong mga fishing nets. Hindi lang fishing nets sa mga trawlers at ordinary fisher folks. Meron din ng mga shipping. Dapat merong port of call. Sa kada port of call, like for example, sa yung mga ports, municipal ports or national ports, dapat meron din natawag ng port reception facilities. Kasi syempre nakaka-generate ng basura, yung mga shipping, kailangan may pagdalhan sila. At matrack yun. Kasi pwedeng sabihin ng barko, nagtapon ako sa previous port of call ko, hindi ko kailangan magtapon yan. Paano natin masisiguradong nagtapon nga siya sa previous port of call yan? So, dyan po pumasok yung mga usapan ng PCG, PNP Maritime Group, Marina, CPA, at of course yung mga local government units na may hawak ng municipal. Eto, number 6, wala na tayong magagawa. May basura na talaga sa marine environment. Anong pwede natin magawa? Clean-ups, trash traps, pinaset ni Engineer Ray kanina, trash booms. So, okay din to, parte ito ng plan of action to reduce and manage marine litter. Kaya ipinasok din po ito. Although mas maganda sana kung ipokontrol natin upstream, huwag na tayo magdagdag. Pero para sa mga basura na nasa karagatan na or nasa ilog na, hanap tayo ng paraan para matrap natin siya at ma-manage ko. Etong 7 to 10 ay more na cross-cutting policy support and enforcement sa local level, whether fisheries siya or waste management siya, anything. So dyan po papasok yon. Ikawalo is IEC. Hindi lang po IEC na flyers. Yung po yung pinag-aaralan din po ng UN Habitat Kochi project ngayon, magkaroon ng norms-based behavioral change. Kasi minsan, alam natin na aware na ang mga tao. Pero kung walang sistema na mag-aano ng behavior niya, na consistent yung behavior niya, kailangan ma-establish both yung awareness ng tao at yung sistema para kunyari, magsisegregate ako ngayon, kukolekta talaga yung basura ko in a segregated manner. So, kailangan kompleto po. Kasi siya ang financing. So, hindi lang naman po pera ang usapan dito, pati yung technical competencies and the other resources. At kung paano mabawi para hindi naman totally subsidized talaga ang waste management or resource. At ikasampo, localization. So, marami po tayong local actors. Sa workshop po namin with Legazpi, kasama po, ayan sila Sir Glenn, nandun po sila, Bicol University, DNREMB was there. So, localization entails, of course, local level implementation by the local government unit as well as the local state. And that is where our project, UN Habitat Project, also intends to support. So a little bit about the Healthy Oceans and Clean Cities Initiative of UN Habitat. I would want to introduce to you first the United Nations Human Settlements Program, UN Habitat. Pero siguro there's no better way of introducing it to you with our experience sa isang previous work namin. That's the Hapsay Sapa program in Cagayan de Oro City na nanalo ng 2018 Asian Townscape Award. Contrary po kasi human settlements program po kami ng UN Habitat. So medyo kailangan po natin ng social safeguards, hindi po yung basta-basta. Kunyari for example, demolition. So baka meron po tayong way or relocation. Baka meron po tayong way to find na na may dignity pa rin yung ating mga kababayan na informal settlements, na nakatira sa informal settlements. So ito po ay isang 1-year program na part ng Bitan and Creek Rehabilitation. So, hindi po dinemolish yung houses. Yung mga tao po yung nag-self-demolish ng kanilang houses kasi it took us a while to convince them of the value of linear parks giving them dignity because they see people value them as human beings just like everybody else. Baka we look down on people just because they live in informal settlement, but working with them, sila yung nag-self-demolish ng houses nila, naglagay sila ng easement, sila na mismo yung nagbigay ng, o sige, bigyan kita ng space dito para yung space na to, linear park, easement siya. Tapos umusod sila within the easement pool. So this is a very nice model na ginawa po ng UN Habitat, and that goes to the mantra of UN Habitat that we don't want to leave anyone or any place behind.
Yep.
So ito po yung Healthy Oceans and Clean Cities Initiative.
Engineer,
Konti na lang po.
Engineer, 2 minutes po. 2 minutes po, please wrap up.
Sige po, 2 minutes.
Yep. No problem.
Po.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
All right.
So, ang Healthy Oceans and Clean Cities Initiative is funded by the government of Japan. And what we want to do is to reduce marine plastic pollution. So, as I said, Legazpi City is one of the 6 active partner cities that we have along with Manila, Calapan, Ormoc, Davao, and Cagayan. So, ang intention po natin dito, hindi talaga mag-clean up. Although we also support cleanups as a way of raising the awareness of people na it's difficult to clean what's already in the rivers and in the Gulf. So, tingnan natin yung circular economy na hindi tayo yung take, make, use, and dispose, but we want to extend the value of life as much as possible. So, ito po yung isang example. Of course, nagsa-start po tayo sa baselining, and then we also work with the city governments like Legazpi in preparing their own city plans of action on marine litter, mirroring the National Plan of Action. So very comprehensive the National Plan of Action pag nakita ninyo, no? And then later on, we can support, we are still in the process of identifying plastic 3Rs pilot projects that we can support in each of the 6 partner cities. But ano yung pwedeng role? For example, we also had some activities like e-hackathon. So minsan tayo medyo matanda na, yung mga ways natin of thinking on how to manage plastic waste is traditional. Tiningnan natin yung ating mga millennial, may mga ideas, ang dami nilang ideas, like yung app na kapag nag-recycle ka ng ganito, makaka-earn ka ng points, tapos may equivalent yan na ganyan. So yung mga app, yung mga Internet of Things, yung mga IT-based applications, nakakalula po, napakatatalino ng ating mga kabataan, at pwede po nating ipasok to sa ating waste management programs. Social enterprises, marami na po social enterprises available. It's just a matter of working with them, like Green Ants, like social plastics ng Plastic Bank, yung product plastic credit exchange. So marami na po. It's just a matter of tying up with them kung ano po yung mas mag-fit sa ating local situation. And as I said, meron pong maliit na pondo na susuportahan po ng government of Japan through UN Habitat Hochi. Pero nag-conceptualize pa lang po kami ng business model together with the cities, and then later on sana ma-approve. So last 2 slides, para sa akin, of course, cleanups and trash trucks are still needed, but hopefully not forever. You know why cleanups are also still necessary kahit nasa amin sa Hochi project. We value 3 Rs. We want to plug it at source. We want to reduce plastics and other waste or sources of marine litter right from the source instead of clean up. Pero it still is important because of the broken window theory. Minsan pag nakita mo yung kapaligiran mo, basag-basag na, madumi. Parang pag nagtapon ka ng something, parang ang pakiramdam mo, wala rin namang kaibahan eh. Kung magtapon din ako ng basura kasi madumi yung lugar. Yun naman yung iniiwasan naman natin. So, yun lang po. So, let's remember na waste is a valuable resource at the wrong place, just happen to be at the wrong time, at the wrong place and the time. Salamat po sa pakikinig. Diyos mabalos.
Thank you so much.
Salamat po.
Diyos mabalos, Engineer Voltaire Acosta, mga tugang kang Hochi UN Habitat Philippines. Thank you so much, sir. Salamat po sa iyong partisipasyon sa tuyang forum mo niya na pagkahapon, pagkaaga. And now, mga tugang aramon tapuan sa tuyang masunod na speaker ang mga inisyatibo kan lokal na gobyerno kan Legazpi para po masolusyonan ang problema sa mga basura sa salog, asin, ang polusyon na kausa kaini.
let us now welcome the man behind the successful infrastructure projects in the city of government of Legazpi. One of the governmental advocates in the city, the former First National Vice President, Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers of PIC, 2020. Former Executive Vice President, Geodetic Engineers of the Philippines, the Vice President, Road Engineering Association of the Philippines, Bicol Chapter, and an ASEAN engineer, City Engineer Clemente Ibo. Engineer,
Engineer, maray na agad tabi.
Sir Henry, maray na aga tabi.
Yes,
Father Momy po, at sa kuyang pakikikayan na maray na aga po. Si Sir Mar, maray na aga, asin sa mga nagdadangog, asin sa mga nag-iiling. Hindi sa magayon na programa kang DZGB tabi.
Go ahead po, Engineer.
Okay, so ano po ang mga plans and programs of the city government of Legazpi? Last year, ako po magtukaw bilang City Engineer kan Legazpi, saro sa pinakainot, the first thing na ginibo tadig sa City Engineering, ako po suminakay sa isa barko sa bangka. Dinumanta po ang gabos ng mga salog na pwede tang mailing. Personally, yan Makabalo River po, kung mailing dinungon niya na magayon na, hanggang duman sa may Kabangan, hanggang makaabot kita duman sa may Central Bank. Iniling ta po ang salog. Kung ano ang existing na salog, makamundo po. Kaya ano po ang ginibuta kan siyudad kan Legazpi? City Mayor Noel Rosal and yours truly, talaga pong nagpurong kami serious with regards to this. And Honorable Mayor Noel Rosal is very serious para sa programang ini. Ano po ang ginibuta? First, nakiurong po kita sa Department of Public Works and Highways, pinasubli po kita kay amphibious excavator. Ini pong duwang amphibious excavator nakulao na tabang sa siyudad kan Legazpi. Pasalamat po kita sa Regional Director kan DPWH, Regional Director Virgilio Eduarte. Hundreds of trucks load ang nakuata po digdi sa Makabalo River. Just imagine, and pig-adalanta po kung ano ang existing, kung ano ang kamugtakan kang Makabalo River. Minimum of 5 meters basura po. Plastic and other garbage ang yaon sa irarong kang Makabalo River. So, sangon yan, medyo natawan ta po kay medyo magayon na resulta because thousands of truckload talaga ang nagkakuro ata, napawiden ta ang Makabalo River. Ito pong pagsakay ta sa bangka paduman para dumiretso sa upstream ng Makabalo River, namumundo po ako. Dahil sa laog lang, isarong oras, not only once, but more than 20 times na may nagtatarapok sa gilid kan salog. Mga pumpers, mga plastic, mga maski ano-anong basura. Ako nagpasalamat kapag agita sa barangay Dapdap, malinigon po sindao. Marayon ang pagka-training kan sa tuyang namumuta na Kapitan Glenn Barcelon sa iyang barangay. Talagang deserving siya maging awardee kang DNR, EMB, talagang pinagayon niya talaga ang barangay Dapdap, including the pag-setback sa legal easement. Halos po barangay Dapdap lang ang naka-implement po kayan. So pag dumanta talaga, namumundo kita because of this mga, bako man tigasabitang informal settler, ang iba man talaga may titulo, pero sad to say that they already constructed their residential building at the top of the dike. So talagang medyo makamurumundo. So
Bako na yan, formal. Talagang informal yan.
Ipo nga ni, ang sarong paligdi sa pinakbako magayon because ang pigagibo nindaong dakulao na basura is the river itself. The Makabalo, the Rurang, the Sagumayon, the Taisan River. So talagang ini ang dapat na maaksyonan ng gobyerno. So anong po ang pigibo kan sa tuyang gobyerno with the able leadership of Mayor Noel Rosal? Naghanap po kita tipundo. The local government of Legazpi asked the DILG and the DILG through the LGSF fund, tinawan po taki 20 million existing nagagalagan po ngunyan, pigdidredge, pigapabairarong ta, ang Sagumayon and the Ruran River. And local fund po, nag-allocate si Mayor 15 million for the Ruran River and 12 million for Sagumayon River. Ali po duman mismo sa likod kang Bicol University, luway-luway ta na pong pigpapairarong ang salog ng Legazpi. So magayon po itong presentation kang DNR Bicol. Pero bago na po ito updated because as of now, kumailingin do ang Sagumayon and Rural River, inalita na po sa mga tanong, sa mga ati, sa tahaw, pigpapairarong ta, and then we rehabilitate na po sa mga existing dike, tangani mapagayon. And then, luway-luway ta kung pigtataraman ang mga nasa gilid kang salog na there is always na dapat sunodon na 3 meters legal easement sa urban na talaga dapat maabot po ang oras, mabalik po kita talagang through the City Engineering Office aaralion ta po ang nasa laog ka 3 meters legal easement. So
very good. Saludo na kami dyan sa imo.
Salamat po, Father Momoy. So, with regards to this, paano ta po yan ma-implementar na pinagayon ta na, pinararong ta na ang mga, pag napararong ta na mga river with this existing project of the City Government of Legazpi na pigapod ta pong Macabalo Esplanades. This Macabalo Esplanades is also, kumbaga, tinabang man sa tuya, 17 million funded by the local government, DILG, LGSF fund. And the city government also allocate a 15 million for the extension of these esplanades. Kung makakabisita po kamo sa baba kang Macabalo River, may sa baba kang Macabalo Bridge, may linindo both sides. May magayon na po kitang 3 meters is 3 meters talagang pwedeng lakaw-lakawan, naka-pavers, kakaganta po mga tukawan, ilaw, tanganing magayon. Magayon po ang siguro pagsiring po kaniyo ang sitwasyon, masusupog naman ang satuyang mga kababayan, mga taga-Legazpi, magtapok yung mga basura sa gilid. The vision of the City Engineering Office and Mayor Noel E. Rosal, ini po kung po pwede papaabuton ta hanggang Daraga. Ini ang pigapod ta ang mga esplanades. Magayonon po ang satuyang salog. Magayunan po ang sitwasyon kan sa tuyang salog. Kaya luluway-luwayon ta po through the napag-urunan naman po ini ni Mayor. Talagang papaabuton tayo ni sa hanggang gibo siya nakita gibo ki esplanades tanganing ma-maintain, mapalinig ta ang sa tuyang salog. Tapos yung sabi nga ni po na imposible po mapapagayon ta ini yung mga river ta. And
possible dream po yan. Possible dream.
Opo, Father Momoy. And then, ano pa po ang pwede tang gibuhon? May mga nakaulay na po kita with regards to this na may mga investor na magkaagi floating restaurant. Medyo oro alaba na po ini. Ang vision ta hanggang ini makaabot duman sa Albay, kayang-kaya pong gibuhon. Pwede ta pong gibuhon. Pag napairarong tan salog, continuous po ang flow. Makakaabot duman ini mga floating restaurant na po. Mas magayong pa po ini duman sa Bohol, sa Lubok River.
Opo.
Dahil mas arayo po ang satuyang maduduman. So, mga ini mga basura na ni po, the city government, ito nakasubli kita kiduwang amphibious excavator. Sabi ni Mayor, iniong sinublit ng amphibious excavator anytime pwedeng kuwaon. Kaya nag-decide po si Mayor na kita mismo nagbakal na isa diritang amphibious excavator. 365 days a year, wala po ining gigibuhon. But to dredge all the existing na mga river ta. So, ini po ang program ng gobyerno. So for the past several days po siguro dakol man ang nakakareparo, dakol man ang nakakanotisya na bako na po halos dain na po tigabaha ang Legazpi because of this. So sige ta ang gibo ki drainage system sa laog kan Legazpi but the outfall ang problema ta. Da iba nakakaluwas ang mga tubig sa drainage because ang outfall ta ababahon. So Kang pinairarong ta po, kang pinairarong ta sa Macabalo River, dakulaon pong tabang. So, igwa kitang pigmentay na 10 na group, 10 sarong team na 10 katao na dayon pigagibo. Ngunyan, 365 days a year na pigagibo ngunyan, maglinig ka drainage system. Alam po nindo ang sa itong mga nagka-discovery. Like in the Bitano, along the railroad track of the PNR, halos panukok plastic. Panukok mga mineral water na plastic, gabos na sana halos po ang nakapanok plastic. Tirang truck po ang kinuata sa satuyang mga drainage system na talagang pano na po plastic, kaya talagang dakulaon na bagay po iniong education sa satuyang mga kababayan na dapat dahil po magparatapo plastic nakitaman sa na po ang madidisturbo. So, iyan po sa pa po yan ta ini yung mga river ta mailing panindo po kung ata nagbabaha ang Rizal Street because may mga ginibo man ko ta po kita okay may project kita na mga iniong pumping station, but this pumping station will not work kung dahil po maray ang pagka-implementar. Sa ngunyan po, medyo dahil ini nagagamit dahil dahil man ini kulang yung mga facilities pa. So, nag-iro na ang Legazpi City. Ini pong barangay Lapu-Lapu, aabrihon ta po yan. May mga informal settler kita dyan na magkataarali. 98 houses para dumiretso ang tubig paduman sa pumping station, which is supposed to be na dapat nagibon dahil taarang po nga dahil pa po nagigibo iniho. Rest assured po,
ang mga harong, obstruction po sa mga harong.
Opo, tabi Father Momy. So, rest assured po, on the part of the city government of Legazpi, ining mga piga-aputang mga 3 meters legal easement, luluway-luwayon ta po ini. Dahil ta po ini kaya na outright magigibo ta. Dahil ini first ini pong mga arong na ni kadaklan, 95% of them wala pong mga building permit. Nanamana naman na natapo. Naluluway-luwayon ta po, i-clear yan. Dahil ta po yan kaya overnight, but it is possible. Basta po ginusto ta with the blessings of our Honorable Mayor, talagang luluway-luwayon ta po ini malinig, lalo na ini sa tuyang mga salog. So, siguro yan man lang po tabi na sabing realidad talaga, na pigagibo talaga ngunyan kan City Government of Legazpi, Father Momy, Sir Henry, and Sir Mar.
Apo, engineer, may text po digdi habang nagtatarangkat. Sabi niya, Henry, now very clear na kung bakit hindi nagagamit ang pumping station because ang culprit niya is huge garbage sa mga drainage system at sa mga basura. Sa tingin ko, sabi niya, sa tingin ko, baka kulang yung plano ng DPWH before they implemented the pumping station. Reaction po, engineer.
Actually po, tulo po ang pumping station na. Number 1, suduman sa Tibu River sa may San Roque.
Okay.
Ang problema ta po talaga dyan sa impounding system. So, catch base, bago tabi iyan dapat i-pump, dapat subulyog kang tubig. Kung ko yan. Dahil sa ngunyan, sa existing na kalagayan ta po ngunyan, pag pinump mo ito, mga tubig duman sa Tibu River, within 5 minutes, ubos po yan. Pero, ano yun magbaba ang tubig alig sa Legazpi? Kulang. Kumbaga, kung ang tubig sa Legazpi, katong pagbaha po, halos abot na sa tulak, duman sa pumping station hanggang sa buol sa Nagambitis. Kumbaga, bakok magayon. So, sabi yung dain na sunod siguro sa design tabi pagkagibo.
Another one from Boss Art Osia. Matindi si Boss Art, ha? For Engineer Ibo, sabi niya, how often will you conduct the dredging of the Macabalo River as a matter of monitoring system, especially in your term of as city engineer? Engineer Ibo?
Thank you po, SM Art. Kag ako po nagimata si Sir Art Osia, talaga station manager ka ni DZGB. Kaya nakurungduman sa isip ko. Kaya agapod ko sa iya, SM Art.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
yun nga rin po sa tabi, Sir Art, kung pagtukaw ta, nakiuron kita because we don't have any capabilities during the time. Dahil kita ang baku na dakula, na dahil man pwede ikaagyan ang ordinary baku dahil malubog. So we need talaga yung amphibious excavator na floating yan sa salo. So, ito nga ni ang sa indong lingkod dati man na during the time the national first vice president of the PICE, so dakol mo po kitang mga connection, networking, so nakiuron po kita sa DP na kung pwede pasublyon kita, not only one but two amphibious excavator, thousands of loads of truck ang nagkakurata po. So the city government na iling yan, importante yun, nigo kita. Nagbakal na po kita isa diring amphibious excavator na wala pong gigibuhon talaga. But dahil po, maski anong kaluta po dyan talagang sige ang raga sa alis sa taas, mas magayon nga po. Dahil kung sa outfall, sige ta ang kalot, so alis sa taas, sige man ang baba, dahil na po kita kahit puwan magparakalot duman sa inutan, dahil makaskas ang bulo, sige man ang baba ng mga mga kuyan. Kaya 365 days tabi a year, bigibuon ta yan, Sir Art. And one thing pa po, ongoing po ang project ng Syudad ng Legazpi. Kung siguro nagdigdi po ka mo sa Legazpi, digdi sa Legazpi Boulevard, along sa digdi sa Macabalo River and the Macabalo Bridge, pag nag-ilig ka mo sa dagat, may fish port po kita. May fish port po kita bako balanse ang luwas kang tubig, ng basura. Sabi yung dahil may basura, ano talaga basura, nagpapaduman sa right side. So ginibutan ko niyan, may ongoing project po kita. So the spillway kang Peaceport, inaganta sa ibong. Inaganta sa ibong, tanganing, pag abot ng oras, kakagantay ang kinet, ang gabos ng mga basura, dahil na makakaluwas tabi. Sir Art. And then, sa dulo po kayan, kakagantang floating bridge. So, dahil man, ma-innovate kita because during a flood, during a typhoon, makusugon po ang ragasakang tubig, makaag po kita dyan floating bridge na anytime pwede tang aliion sa ibong na sighting igagakunta. So kung siguro ma-visualize po nindo ining mga color blue na drum, pag iyan pigdorokuta po yan, ang tawo pwede makalakaw. Maski ang auto pwede makaagi. Yan. So there is no impossible with that. Innovation lang. Nailing ko naman po yan sa tuyang paglakaw-lakaw sa ibang bansa. Sa ibang bansa. Digdi sa tuyang Earth. So talaga, posible po yan. Kumbaga, innovation lang. Isipon talang na ako yan. Magtatarabangan po kita. Kayang-kaya ta po ini.
Yes. Mabintang ka ngunyan, engineer. May sarap pang text. Sabi niya, Henry, kanina po yung talk ng DNR, sinasabi na madaming fecal content ang sa Gumayon River. And same with the talk of engineer kanina. Pakitanong po kay Engineer Ibo kung paano ma-regulate ng mga, sorry po sa mga nagapagunto na ha, sorry po sa mga medyo nagkakaon mo niyan, na yung mga septic tank na mga tubo mula sa bahay, ang labas po niyan sa Sagumayon River. Any update po on this, Engineer Ibo?
Yes, ito nga po, tabi Sir Henry, that luluway-luwayon ka po ini because this will be data bako ini po overnight project.
Yeah, correct.
Ang salong po halos dakulo na barangay na pigaagigan. Pupunod na po yan digdi sa Macabalo side. Papasaka to ta, gabos na may mga tubo na paduman sa ang pole nindao. Susurulaton ta po yan. Tataraman ta sa mga may sa diri na bawal po yan. Tatawan ta sindaki mga 1 week, 2 weeks para magimo isa diring septic tank nindao tanganing daininda pagdiretso. Daininda pagdiretso gabos ng mga basura ninda, gabos ng mga shits nindao na diretso sa salong tabi. Luluway-luwayon ta po education because ang office of the OCNR po, the Kulaon Digang participation because that is one of their mandate environment. So, with the makiki-ordinate po kita sa gabos nahin sa kang gobyerno, sa gabos ng mga departamento kan Syudad ng Legazpi para mapaayos
ito po ini. Engineer Ibo na hospital and commercial polluters, ano po pwede tabi buong ito?
Yes, with regards tabi Father Momoy sa mga hospital waste, mahigpit po kita mahigpit po kita diyan na piga-monitor tapos sinda na dapat ang sa indang mga hospital waste, special waste po yan, dahil nanggad po ninda yan pwedeng ipaagi sa salog, hanggang dai paninda yan na retreat, and then sa mga talagang hazard waste, dapat po dayan bako yan ordinary waste po, may special, may mga nagkukuha po talaga kaiyan ng mga waste na yan tabi Father Momoy. With regards to this mga industrial, luluway-luwayan ta po yan talaga tabi Father Momoy. Ining mga di kita ako personally suminakay ako sa bangka para mailing ko ang actual situation kan sa tuyang mga salong digdio, and then nailing ko na po, aramta na po, planning po kita. Ako nga po nagpapasalamat man because ang suporta kan sa tuyang mabuotan na alkalde na visionary mayor kan Ciudad del Legazpi kumpleto. Sabi niya, talagang gibuhon mo ang gabos na pwedeng gibuhon para sa karahay kan sa tuyang Ciudad del Legazpi. Kaya nakulaon po ang sa tuyang pasalamat dahil sa tiwala kan sa tuyang alkalde. So dahil po kita napapagal. Kung ano ang sa tuyang gigibuhon because talagang fully supported kan sa tuyang mayor Father Mo.
Yes. Thank you so much, Engineer Ivo. Sabi ni Boss Art, thank you so much, Engineer Ivo. Very well discussed. Yan. Thank you so much, Engineer Clemente Ivo. Mabuhay ka po.
Salamat po.
Thank you so much, mga tugang City Engineer Clemente Ivo, kan Ciudad del Legazpi. Paringmar. Yep. Oh, sorry.
Dit nagliliwanag na ano.
Excited
Okay, so nabanggit ka sa bago ni Engineer Ivo si amigo ta.
Yeah.
Si City Environment and Natural Resources Office.
Opo.
Na hands-on man ini po sa programa, no? So siguro iyo man ini sa tuya man na dangogon.
Yes.
Aning masabutan ta kon papaano mas mapakusog ta ang pangataman sa kapalibutan.
Iyan. And sa ngunyan mga tugang, i-welcome ta po ang 30 taon po siyang naging professor sa Divine Word College of Legazpi. And officer in charge po kang City Environment and Natural Resources Office. Mga tugang Mr. Cicero Boboy Canyo, OIC of Centro, para po sa iyang talk regarding environmental programs of the city as in plan of action para sa marine litter.
Sa ngunyan man po baga, sa nagug ko, birthday ni Boboy.
Yes.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Boboy, good morning, Migo. Happy birthday sa imo.
Thank you.
Talaga ha? Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, opo. Thank you sa pansit mamaya. Sige po, go on.
Okay po. Okay, good morning. Sa Aldo na ini, sa Kuya Manay, kaman pong ipinaga-presentar sa inyo, ining pigakod ang solid waste management city amidst the and action ng mga leaders. Kuya ang napag-prepararan at medyo busy kita ngunyan, iyo man talaga ang sa tuyang ipig-prepare talaga para. Okay. So,
magkaplikado pa lang.
Okay. Okay po.
Alright,
Next
go ahead po.
Okay.
Magkaplikado na lang.
Go ahead, boy.
Okay po. Okay. So, amidst the current threat COVID-19 pandemic, City Government of Legazpi, through the Office of the OCNR, is continuously implementing its environmental programs, especially the best practices in ecological solid waste management in the 70 barangays under its jurisdiction. Subot sabihon, da itatabi yan pinagtutulungan, maski nga kita nasa pandemya, nagsusunod man kita sa mga health protocols sa local IATF, na dapat ipasunod man gila yung tabi ang tamang protocol sa pagmanihil kani, pero dahil tabi ini pwedeng punduhon na ang pagsegregar padagusta, as in padagusta yan nakukuliktahon para sa kalinigan kan sa tuyang syudad, as in bilog kang kalabang barangay, sitintang barangay. So the segregation at source and no segregation, no collection policies are with the mandates of Republic Act 9003 and the City Ordinance of 0017. So iyan po ang mandato sa tuya. Kaya ipautubian dahil konsiderado po kita na nagmapautubian. Kung tatuyan sa ibang mga nagparam na, no, said kay Engineer Ibo, may special thanks to Engineer Ibo makusog ang collaboration ni dyan sa mga bagay na yan. So kay puwanta yan. Okay, so next is, so we intend to do the strong EC or information education campaign. Okay. Okay, education campaign are regularly conducted in the barangays, business establishment following the health protocols implemented by the city IATF. Seminar for new and renewal business establishment registration is also conducted virtually via Zoom to minimize exposure. Both sabihin, pinagkukondisir man po girayon ini, pero data man po pinapabayaan, so pinapagpapasunod kang protocol ta under the pandemic. Ngunyan, na nagbibumi, fully year round po ini. So meaning to say, we visit barangays, solve orientation sa kada. Tiring man sa mga mabago ki lisensya, mabago ki lisensya sa negosyo, since maagi man po sinda sa paagin sa paagin Zoom meeting. So iyan po ang IAC campaign tangon yan, lalo tang pinapakusog ta dahil dapat pirming aktibo ang tao ta sa kalinigan. Dahil po aram ta padagos na ang kahilangan or ang virus yaon man po diyan makukuha sa basura. Kaya inot ang pinagtatawan nin pawod digdi an sa to yung mga constituent di sa bilog kan Legazpi. Okay. So digdi sa sunod regular cleanup activities are being implemented in the barangays to maintain the cleanliness of the city surroundings. Subot sabihon, nahiling ta mga padagos na ang barangay Dapdap nga isarupan bilang pinaka-enot na cleanest barangay sa Estero at Amanon ko, no? Iyo po ini na may regular clean-up activities na are being implemented in barangays to maintain the cleanliness of the city surroundings. So, ini po padagos ini pinagigibukan lambang barangay ta sa paagi kan sa to yung mga action officers na naka-adistino sa mga barangay. Ini po pinagkukondisir ta iyan kada semana, suro Sabado, depende sa available time kang mga pwedeng magpartisipar sa paglinig kang sa tuyang kapalibutan. Ito, coastal cleanup. So, maugong ba?
Coastal cleanup.
Okay na po. Okay.
Yes, go ahead po.
So, solid waste management. Solid waste are also leaking into the city's drain and water because of indiscriminate littering of some residents. Into the rivers and canals. These plastic litters will eventually end up in the marine environment. To address this problem, sa cleanup drives are being conducted to manage the marine litter, especially in the coast of Albay Gulf or in Legazpi Boulevard we started. So as you could see it in the screen that we also do the so-called coastal and river cleanup for every barangay, and especially from the coastal areas kang mga kan Legazpi City, arog kang mga iba-ibang barangay dyan, arog kang Padang, Bigaa, Arimbay, San Roque, Bunot, yaon pa po dyan Sabang, Pigkali, Victory Village, pasir na po yan sa Purok, pasir na po yan duman sa Buena Vista. So igo po sila ng partisipasyon pag-abot sa pagkapaglinig kang sa indang mga coastal areas. Dahil po aramta na kusuba nga ni Prinisintar ni Sir Ibo na dakol na siyang pinagpaplanong mga proyekto niyan, dahil mabot sa bihon na maasa kita duman sa proyekto, kundi may tao man po gilayon na responsable panganing mapangatamanan ta ang kapalibutan. So iyan po ang sarong dakulang yun na sa tuya, lalo-lalo na sa administrasyon kang presidente ng mayor na si Mayor Rosal, kulang pundo na pinagpapautubig sa tuyang Legazpi para sa magkanigong pagmantinir ang kapalibutan digdi sa satuyang syudad ni Legazpi. Okay? So next po is una po dyan sa pinag-aapuntang activities in the barangays with river tributaries. The DNR-EMB also conducted a reparo estero competition exclusively for Legazpi City, Barangay last September 2021, and Barangay bagged the first place. Iyon na nga ni po so sinabi ko sa bago na dahil kita nagpapabaya, dapat padagos para mas matakwan ng tanin ni pag mangno ang mga tao sa ligas ang mga mahilig agos mga litrato okay, ayun na po. Okay, so ini mga nahilingtang mga documented pictures, iyan po ang pinagsasabi na ini ginigibo ining totalmente sa lambang barangay na may estero araw nga ning kandap-dap ini pang iba pang mga barangay. Ini pinagkukondisir mi ini kada Sabado. Bako lamang sa barangay residents. May static ko, nag-static. Yep. Okay. So, ini po, pinagkukondisir ko ini kang sa tuyang kang sa tuyang opisina para riparoon sa pagikan ng mga action officer na ining mga pulisiya na i-implementar dahil nga ni isa threat kang sa tuyang pandemic, gusto ta pining malilig ang kapalibutan ta. So ini reparo estero bako sana po ini dahil sa kabutan kan DNR-EMB kundi ini padagos tang gigibuhon dahil pinuknang ta na po ini bako lamang sana sa coastal and river cleanup pati na po ining estero na pinagtatawanan tanin doon. Kaya nga ni sa paani ini nagtao ang EMB nin diit na palubag loob na kung sisay sa pinakamalinig na estero ito ang magkakaigwanin dakulang pa premyo. Iyon na nga ni ang barangay dapdap sa pamanhamento kan sa tuyang mabuot na barangay captain na si Sir Glenn Barcelon na nahiling niya talaga kung paano siya kondisir ka ining clean up dahil iyan man ang paniniwala niya na ang helang day matinir digdi sa satuya kumpirmi kitang malini. Totoo po yan dahil po ngani dahil ang tao ngani dapat man talagang pagtakwan man sistema para sistema na mga maghanap ni mga partners araw ka mga nasa PNP sa mga training. So kay puwan taman sinda na tabangan kita. In fact, they are asking us or nagkakapot sinda po sa tuya. Makasabay man po sinda sa pagtaonin proyekto, pagtaonin serbisyo sa paagi ng clean up drive. So dinidestino po niya mo iyan duman sa mga lugar sa mga barangay na diit ang konstituente na diit pwede maubos or inauubos ang pinag-aapudang marine litters or ining mga plastic na nagkakalat sa lambang barangay ninda. Kaya po iyan, saruyang ka mga programa na pinapakusugkan sa tuyang opisina. Sa paagi kang suporta kang sa tuyang mayor, suporta kang sa tuyang engineering as in ang CPDO. Kusubago na dangog si Sir Rick. na Rico na ipresenta rin sa tuya. Tapos nadangog naman si Sir Ibo, naglakulo ng plano niya para sa environment kang syudad kan Legazpi. Ngunyan kita makikikolaborate kita, makikipag-cooperate kita sa mga programang inita dahil kita mismo ang opisina mismo kang OCNR iyong tabi ang magigibo kang mga polisiya para sana mapagayunta ang satuyang kapalibutan. Manungod nga ni po duman sa pinagtataramtang river cleanup na iguana nga kang esplanades dyan. Sundo na yan maabot yan duman sa boundary kang Legazpi and Daraga. Dahil nga ni sa pagtugod mi na pag-iguana ka ini, pwedeng maibitaran ta, maluway-luway ta, na malinigo na ang salog ta. Maibabalik man po yan giraray sa dating sistema kang mga panahon na kulang pa ang tao. Dahil habang nagdadakol ang tao, iyo man po ini nagdadakol ang basura. Ngunyan, may iguana kitang grupo na sa OCNR na minukna mi na iyo na nga ni ining pinag-aapod ng mga deputized enforcer na kung sisay man ang magbayular kang gabos na ordinansa manungod sa environment, papatawan na po yan kay penalty. Dahil iyan maagi man yan sa barangay, sa kabuutan man yan kang sa tuyang barangay official, especialmente ang mga barangay captain. Kung natatayan din ako, dahil nyaon duman sa citation ticket, nakapalaman kung ano ang sala ang sarong taong nagbayular kang sa tuyang ordinansa. Okay, next po. Okay, digdi po sa marine litters ta. Ining CPO or City Plan of Action on Marine Litters Undertakings. Yun na po ini sinabi ni Sir na Acosta. Pero I would rather reiterate na inida ko lang tabang ini para sa tuya dahil nagkaigwangan ni Sindaki na sarok kita kang mga napili nida na para tawanan kipundo na 9.5 something million in order to come up with the full-blown program to avoid the so-called marine litters, no? So ini isaro ka mga beneficiaryo kani ang barangay Budapdap, si barangay Piñaranda na ini matatawan ni livelihood program ta ini bagay na ining programa tang ini da ini maray na kun da ini tawanan kay kaakibat na livelihood program. Iyo po kaya unit ni support health ocean and initiative or HOXI is being implemented in the United Nations Human Settlement Program on our human habitat. Funded by the government of Japan, the city of Legazpi carried out a series of multi-stakeholder consultations to analyze the global and local marine litters issue, make an inventory of existing marine litters reduction and management initiatives, identify gaps and challenges, and develop the city's local plan aligned with the NPOA strategies and action. So iyan po ang mga pinagigibutan ko niyan. Iyan po ang nahiling ta sa screen. Iyan po yan sa mga inisyatibo na pinagigibukang HOXI para sa tuya sa laog kang Legazpi City. So iyan po ang pinagtatuan dahil po na pulod. Yan, tangani pa man, kaya nga ni bisihunod kita dahil ako nakapag-upload kay Sir Henry, kay Father Momy, kay Sir Mar. Dahil nga ini ang pinagtataon ng taki kahit at kumura in programa sa tuya, mas lalong mabibisilan man kita ta magparaasa kita. Ngunyan dahil kita maasa sa lokal na gobyerno, kundi ini na po dahil ini po program ini, proyekto po ini na itinao sa Legazpi, papakinabangan ini kimaray kang syudad ni Legazpi sa paagikan sa tuyang mahigos na Mayor Noel. Okay. So ini po ang mga bagay-bagay under which addition to which one of the activities under the CPOA is to conduct waste analysis and characterization study or WAC. So pinahiling na po yan ng mga litratong iyan baga so bago ni Sir na Acosta, ni Engineer Acosta. Diyan po yan nangyari sa Bunker 1. Duman nagkaigwa doon kimaray ang HOXI na dapat ang UN habitat na ang legal space saro dapat ka maging benepisyo dahil aktibo ang sa tuyang mga tao para gibuon ining programang ini sa kapagayunan kan sa tuyang environment or kapalibutan. So, iyo pa ini na nagkondisir kita ki characterization study or WACS using the Waste Cities tool last April 2021. And this activity enabled the city to measure its waste generation and composition as well as its present waste recovery and diversion through recycling and composting initiatives. So nahiling tabaga po, Sir Henry, sa Father Momy and Sir Mar, na kita, nahiling tabaga po dumang kang pagbisita nindo, na igwana kitang pigapod na compost na pigpapa test pa yan sa Department of Agriculture para kung iyan makumplitar, magigipo kitang producer isarong organic fertilizer. So till now, since we do not have yet the so-called approval of the Department of Agriculture that our compost is now a high-grade organic fertilizer, we can still call it compost materials. This is to enhance our soil. Ini dakulang katabangan ini sa mga paraumata. Dahil ini po baga. So ali po yan didi sa pinagkukulisir kang CPOA ML undertakings under the characterization of the city waste, no? So ini po ang pinagtutuunan takipansin. Dumanta na hihiling yan. Siriman po, next po, full of city planning on action for marine litters. Workshop was to identify the existing targets or target projects and programs of LGU Legazpi in terms of marine litters, reduction through circular economy, and sustainable 3Rs. Kung narumdaman ta po ang 3Rs na yan, reuse, recycle, and reduce. Yeah. So iyon po yan pinagigibo ta. Pasaro pa yan ta mga livelihood programs under the HOCSI, under the UN Habitat Program. This project or the project should be anchored to the cluster of the action or cluster of actions stated at the National Plan of Action on Marine Litters or NPOA or ML. Okay? So nainaon nga ni Sir Barcelon. Our critique is our very own Sir Glenn Barcelon during the time that we conducted the so-called marine city plan of action marine litters workshop held at and have now the next one, please. Okay, so the last page of this, sir. Okay, so ito po yung sinasabi natin na ito na po. So ito po. So strategy, the local marine litter baselining. So strategy 1 po yan, ginawa na natin yan. Then strategy 2, the mainstream circular economy, sustainable production or SCP initiatives. So ginawa na rin natin yan. And then we have the number 3, strategy number 3, recovery and recycling enhancement. So sisay sa mga na-identify tang barangay na pwedeng mag-enhance kaining mga recycling. Saro di ang barangay Piñaranda na identify mi and ining EM's Barrio phase 2. Saro po ini ka may mga magayuno na recyclable products alit sa basura ta. Siring man po ining pig-apod kang waste collection and disposal safeguards, no? All of our 70 barangays are being now with MRF. That is why magayuno na ang safeguard kan sa tuyang mga basura. Dahil na po yung pwedeng pagdungkulon ki mga hayop na gala para ma-safe ta ang malinig ang kapalibutan ta. Number 5, we have the shipping and fisheries waste control. Ayan, pinag-aadalan niya kung paano ta iyan ma-i-deliver. Dahil ini ang iba ka ini nagkakaralapa na bagang sira dahil aram kung saan ang disposal ka iyan. And it could be kung duman sa muya pwede ta yan sa composting idara. Okay? And then we are now on the waste control. So ang waste control ta po yan, sir, yun nga nini. So recycling, so 3Rs, mangyari yan, magkakaigwa kita kay pag dagsa ibasura duman sa sanitary landfill, sa tabataan sanitary landfill tabaga, mapapapano na naman. Remember, ang sanitary landfill tabako yan basang ang kantidad kayo. It costs millions of pesos. Kaya dapat talaga mautob ang polisiya na no segregation, no collection policy, and at the same time, the implementation of 3 Rs. So iyan talaga ang pinagkukonsentriran kan sa tuyong mga action officers na yakon sa opisina na. Then, ini pa po ang river and coastal cleanups. Day po yan na untok. Pinagigibutan last year pa, 2 years ago, dahil pa ining Hoxie, pigigibutan na baga po yan, Sir Henry. Kaso lang nag-abot sa pandemya, kaya anong ginibutan? Napundok-puno na kidit na oras ta, bad kung magdakol ang mag-positive digi sa tuya. Pero, daiman po pala yan pwedeng mapundo na dahil nyaon sa basura nga ni, dakulang posible na magkaigwaki virus ang kapalibutan ta, kaya dapat i-control tama po sa giraray iyan through our partners, our stakeholders, na ipapautob ta ang tamang polisiya kang IATF local para mas padagos kang pagigibuhon inipigapod ang coastal and river cleanup.
Yes.
So ang city giving, yes sir.
2 minutes po please.
Okay po. Then policy and enforcement, igwa na kita po na enforcers. Then social marketing and communication. So we have the IEC, igwa naman po kita kaiyan. Ngunyan, gabos na po ini. Number 9, sustainable financing and resource allocation. We have the financing from the Hoxie, and then from our city government, we have our budget also. Then strengthening local actions. So, ini po, saro na ini po ang programa na pinag-aapod na solid waste management during the COVID pandemic. So, thank you very much for listening. And thank you, Sir Henry. Thank you, Sir, Mark.
Yep. Thank you so much sa Sir Boboy, kanyo ng OCNR.
Yes, sir.
Mabuhay po ang OCNR sa Legazpi City. Thank you so much for the information.
Boy, saka happy birthday, Granay!
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you po.
Yes.
So, any questions or clarification regarding this matter?
Yep. No more questions?
Ayaw.
Very clear po, Sir Boboy.
Maliwanag.
No problem. Klarong-klaro po sa tuyang mga tagantabay mo niya na pagkaano.
Pasensya na po, medyo.
Di na kami mahapot na birthday mo ba?
Yung gusto po yan. Okay, thank you. Thank you for DZGB.
Thank you.
Thank you po, DZGB. Thank you.
Okay. So, Parimar.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, we all know na bakulang Legazpi ang may inisyatibo, may kinaraman sa tuyang kapalibutan, Henry. You also have people na hindi Filipino pero nagtatabang sa tuyang kapalibutan. We are blessed to have the presence of the Executive Director of Proud PH.
Yep. Without much ado, mga tugang, let us welcome our speaker who has been a corporate executive communication consultant for over 25 years. And the man behind the X.1 Foundation, Mr. Nick Metaxa, to give us a talk on Proud PH, an ocean emergency program to reduce pollution with floating garbage. Mr. Metaxa, good morning, sir. Magandang umaga po sa inyo.
Good morning, maraming salamat. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
I'm allowed to share my screen po.
Yes, sure, sir. Go on.
So I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, very clear, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, and you can hear me nicely and well. Thank you so
Very well.
much. Just move this around here. So before I begin, first of all, I would like to emphasize it's already now an hour later. My apologies to everybody out there. I see that we have a lot of other problems than ecology or ocean pollution right now, with COVID holding us in its grip, loved ones getting sick, even dying. So therefore, I'm even more grateful for everybody who is here today in this awesome forum, here in the Zoom call, but also in the radio streams and on YouTube. Thank you so much for not forgetting about these problems. When I heard the Pope Francis in 2018 saying that we cannot allow the plastic pollution of our rivers, there was another sentence which really stuck out to me, and I want to share that with you quickly at the beginning. It's, let us remember all those who work to protect maritime areas, that they may carry out their task with responsibility and with integrity. Therefore, I'm extremely humbled and thankful to be here with the wonderful hosts of this event here. Sir Henry Maceda, who is the Vice President for Programming. Sir Henry, you are responsible for putting these important topics on the agenda of BICOL's most important broadcasting network. So my sincerest respect for you, sir. The same is true for Sir Mario. The same is true for Sir Mario de la Cruz, of course, who drives the news and the social media. Maraming salamat. And last not least, I'm humbled and full of joy to finally meet the famous Padre Momy. His reputation as a holy man who takes the word of the Holy Father seriously and carries it into the daily word of us. This is huge, and I feel blessed to be here today with you, Father Momy.
Thank you po. Thank you.
Let me also greet again the wonderful Brenda Locsin, the president of PBM. I remember her before the pandemic when she supported the BICOL Agri Aqua Fair back then in 2019, before we all wore masks and we were still on fairs together and not in Zoom rooms. And of course, it's a special honor for me today to listen to the Honorable Mayor Noel Rosal, who leads the city of Legazpi through innovation and development. It was thrilling to watch the video showing the intense and powerful river monitoring which is going on, as well as Sir Rico's very professional and deep data of the river situation. My thanks goes also to Sir Voltaire Acosta, his incredibly detailed and highly professional presentation. It would be wonderful if we could connect and exchange opinions. And congratulations to Engineer Clemente Ibo for his really thorough analysis. That was packed competence in this forum here today. That's truly impressive. And of course, allow me to congratulate DZGB to its 63rd birthday. Happy birthday.
Yes,
that makes it
thank you.
Old.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That makes you even older than me, diba?
Yeah.
So,
thank you, sir, for the greetings.
my name is Yorgos Nikolaos Metaxa Schwart, and that is horrible. I'm so sorry for it. It is because I'm Kalahati. I'm half Greek and I'm half German. I have been working in the last 25 years with international corporations globally. You've seen a couple of the logos up there. Some of them you might recognize. And I was working as an executive communications consultant. That means I worked only in the executive level. That is the so-called C level of a company. So the CEO, the CIO, the COO, that is chief officers. I don't tell you this in order to brag in front of you, but I want to share with you what I learned, what my lesson in these 25 years was to work with leadership personalities. First of all, when you come into the leadership levels of a corporation or an organization or a government, you find, of course, the smartest people there. And the second thing is that these are people who are decision makers. That means if you want to really get things done, then it's great to work with leaders. Here in the Philippines, they just call me Kuya Nick, and I have to apologize today that I have to speak this presentation in English. Kasi if I try to speak Tagalog, I get nosebleed, and Visayas, I have no idea at all. So my apologies to everyone out there. I'm so sorry, but I have to speak. And we are already way over the time, so I have to speak very fast now in order to stay into my 15, 20 minutes here. Yeah. But you can all ask me questions. I have set up a Mentimeter, so if you want to go on a separate mobile phone to menti.com on your browser, and you can type in this number, I will show it later again too. Then you can ask me questions and you can participate in this forum interactively, even if you are on the YouTube or on the Facebook live stream and not in this Zoom meeting here today, Paul.
Yeah.
So when I came to the Philippines, I closed my business down and I went into sabbatical, and I started to work with the youth. Here you can see me in the IBA inauguration of the Sangguniang Kabataan. And from the 2 years of sabbatical, it is now almost 4.5 years I'm in sabbatical. I try to engage with all levels of the Philippine society and really work on the topic of ocean plastic pollution, because I feel that our generation has really left a horrible place for the future generations. I feel bad for the young people around me. And my generation was in charge during the last 30 years, and we did let that happen. So out of this reason, I dedicated my sabbatical to the Sustainable Development Goals and try to support young people in order to have the tool sets, the knowledge, and the opportunities to do something. Of course, I also was involved in the international coastal cleanup. Shout out to the Philippines, 11 years in a row till 2019, before the pandemic, the country with the most volunteers worldwide in the international coastal cleanup. And I met along this journey so many concerned citizens all across the Philippines. For Albay, my humble thanks goes to the water clubs here, the Albay Yacht Club, and a big shout out to the Mayon Kayak Club. There is a huge river awareness group in and around Legazpi who are tirelessly working on the protection of God's creation. Many of them, maybe all of them, are listening here today. So I think you all know who you are. I don't have to call names. Just bless you all. But Sir Acosta said it already before in his speech. We cannot constantly clean up again and again. My back was hurting, and 2 weeks later, when I came to the same places that we cleaned up, it was the same trash again. Yeah. Therefore, I really started to try to do something about it. And before I show you my project, I want to make one thing clear. I'm standing in front of you now as the executive director of a foundation, which I had to found in order to have a legal entity in the Philippines. So I'm executive director of the X.1 Foundation. But let me make clear that we do not sell anything. We don't sell any solutions. We don't sell any consultings. We do not sell a single thing, and we also do not take donations, and memberships in our organization are free and will stay free forever. So we do not take any money from citizens. This project here is entirely self-financed, and we try to stay self-sustainable. So we were already talking about how shameful the ocean plastic pollution is, thanks to Sir Acosta, who has outlined already most topics around plastic pollution. No need for me to repeat all of this here. Let me just add one more thing to the sin towards the creation and the destruction to livelihood and health. And that is especially now, after COVID, in a post-COVID time, there will be very few tourists who are traveling in the world. And those few tourists will decide very, very clearly and picky how they want to travel and where they want to travel. And if we destroy our beaches and the biodiversity, which is the highest in the world and one of the #1 international tourism situations, then we, of course, will also threat our tourism industry with the plastic pollution. So this is the story, and I think many people know that logo here, the Manamol. We had last in September, the Maritime and Archipelagic Nation Awareness Month. We identify ourselves so intriguingly with the ocean that starts already in the Constitution, and 30 years after the Constitution, the Presidential Proclamation 316 said again that we need to harmonize, we need to integrate, we need to synchronize and bring all these efforts together, which is essentially the same that the Pope said in Laudato Si, and what we are doing here in this forum today. And yet we are accused, with all our love and our dependence on the ocean, to be one of the biggest polluters of the ocean. Sir Yocaste had said it before already. We are accused by a study in 2015 to be the 3rd biggest polluter. Newer studies even claim that the Pasig River is the most polluted in the world. When we look at the narratives of typical environmental groups, then their narrative is to blame corporations for this. They do that with sometimes really horrible campaigns. There are videos where you can see people, blood running down their faces, people who are Coca-Cola truck full of Coke bottles, and the Coca-Cola employee brings that to the ocean and throws the whole Coca-Cola bottles in the ocean. And that's really kind of a little bit weird. And regarding the topic of ocean plastic pollution, our research shows that it is simply not true. And I can prove that to you. So what I did was, I just had a look at the international newest data for river pollution. You can see in the background the map from ocean cleanup. This is just published a few weeks ago, the newest data of all the river pollution in the world. And then what I do is, if you tell me that it is Coca-Cola's fault, then let's just have a look at the sales volume of Coca-Cola. How many Coca-Cola bottles did they sell in the different continents? And you can see the cake here has almost evenly spread pies. There's a little less in North America, a little more in Asia, but it's more or less even, right? That means if Coca-Cola is the devil for destroying the oceans, then we should see that all across the continents. But this is not the case. Let's have a look at North America. We see here horrible numbers, I have to agree. Long Beach, 15,700 kilogram in New York. That's a huge city, and these are huge numbers. We're talking about 1,000 kilograms per year plastic entering the ocean through these rivers. And these are estimates. This is not as great as what we saw before, where there was a real counting. In this case, I have to say Alba is ahead of the world because you did really much better counting. These here are estimates, okay? But yet, still, in America, we see one of those red dots, and it is in the Delaware Bay with 126,000 kilogram. And now let's jump over to Asia. And you can see, oh my God, everything is red in Asia, and the numbers are horrible. 3 million in Shenzhen, 12 million in Kuala Lumpur. Compared to 14,000, 12 million, that's a huge difference. And the top spot, as I said, they claim now the Philippines is the biggest polluter in the world, and the Pasig River with 62 million is the leader of all of the rivers of evil in the world. So what is the reason for this? Does it mean the Asian Coca-Cola Santa Claus is more evil? He brings more trucks to the ocean? I don't think that this is really viable. I believe the truth is completely different, and it is painful for us citizens. This photo here is an 83-year-old woman in Europe. I know the age because she's my mother. Every Tuesday, my mother has to go with her rollator 1.5 kilometers to the material recovery facility where she has to bring her plastic washed, and then she's going to throw it into these different bins to segregate it. The person in orange you see here on the picture is a worker there, but she's not doing it for you. She just helps you and gives you advice where to throw the different bottles. You can see there are examples on top of it. And at the end of the day, what you're doing here is citizen segregation, all the responsibilities at the citizen. The next picture I show you is in my neighborhood here in the Philippines. And people sometimes say that there is trash which is thrown by the wind from the landfills coming into... This is a McDonald's cup with Coke, and there is a rum bottle next to it, and people drank rum and Coke and threw their bottle and the cup on the floor. And believe me, if I tell you, I have hundreds of those pictures in my neighborhood, and the next trash bin is just 50 meters away.
Yeah.
So the real situation is we believe less than 10% of the river trash comes from landfills. This picture is from Marikina. I lived for 5 years around the corner of these riverbanks here, and I tell you, this trash is not coming from landfills and by the wind, no. We believe that we Filipinos cannot be proud how we take care of our nation. Which is funny because we are one of the proudest countries in the world. Did you know that we are ranking number 6 in the world for the most pride in our nation? The Germans who do this segregation have only a 24% pride in their own nation. And this is where it all comes together and why we are talking about proud PH today. Either we are the biggest polluters and reckless with the creation of God, or we're restoring the pride in our country by changing our image as a polluter, and we are changing into responsible citizen of our country. And we are already doing this. There are hundreds and hundreds of smaller and bigger campaigns. We saw today so many activities. I saw so many things happening already in the Philippines for the last 5 years. The problem, alas, is it is too slow and it takes too long. Estimates show that we need another 5 to 10 years before we can reduce the plastic pollution enough to save our oceans. The United Nations called these 10 years, beginning with January 2021, the United Nations Decade of the Ocean. And we have only this one decade to save the oceans. And we cannot start in 10 years with it. All the animals will be dead by then. So I started to look for a solution which is going to help us immediately. Our research showed, of course, as you all know, the rivers are carrying 80% of the plastic pollution. And I looked into all the solutions which are existing in the world. Best practice check. This is what we do in corporations. We just look who is doing the best things. So they are these river nets, these collectors. You have seen them before, and they need a lot of manpower to empty them. In Marikina, where the situation is much tougher than in Legazpi, when they open the floodgates, these nets are going to be full in 10.5 seconds. And I would need the entire Philippine armed forces to regularly empty them out. The river cleanup machines are really smart. They are these conveyor belts, they are tilted in the water, and they take the trash out of the water. This is really smart, but they need fuel to operate. Or electricity, batteries, mostly fuel. And then people said to me, yeah, if you don't want to use fuel, use solar. Solar is cool and smart. The river cleanup machine is there, but it costs $1 million to install the river cleanup machine. By the way, it's coming to the Pasig River. There is a contract already, I think, so there will be one interceptor machine in the Pasig River. But think of it, we have 420 rivers in the Philippines. We have 180 river estuaries. How do we work with one machine which costs $800,000, $500,000? This is not viable. It's too expensive. And governments, we know already, no offense, please, we have no money, okay? So therefore I came up with the program, the Plastic Plug. I don't have the time now in 15 minutes to really show you the complete program, but the first part is that I looked back into ancient technologies. I looked back into my Greek ancestors. And 2,500 years ago already, a guy who was called Philomechanicus, which is translated the friend of the engineers. And the friend of the engineers was the first Greek engineer who wrote down all the mechanics and physics of water energy, how you use water to create mechanics. In truth, of course, inheritance. In fact, it is much older. 4,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, the first people already used the water energy, and water wheels existed there already. So this is a very simple technology. We do not need millions of pesos. We don't need science fiction technology, and we don't need difficult tools to build it. If people could build it 4,000 years ago, we can do it in every barangay talaga. So the system is called the River Plastic Plug because what we have now is a water wheel which is effectively plugging the rivers, which carry 80% of the plastic pollution, without using electricity or using fuel, and being extremely inexpensive because we use low-cost local materials for buying it. This is a schematic model of it. I'm going to show you this later. Usually I have more time for this presentation.
No problem, sir. You can go on. You can extend your time.
Thank you, sir. That is very nice of you.
Go ahead, Po. Go ahead.
But I get a huge problem now because now the river carried all the trash in the oceans, okay? That means nobody was responsible for it. That was great for us. We just looked away and the animals in the ocean died. But now I take it out of the river and I put it on the river banks, and suddenly it belongs to the mayor of the municipality, and this mayor is going to be very angry with me, right? So I need to have a solution for this trash, which is also a big problem, and we discussed that before already. So we're going to install a very specific MRF next to the water wheel. And the special thing of this is that our water wheel has a segregator by the river. The river brings only floating garbage there. So that means all the plastic and the plastic bottles, these are all floating on the surface. So we get really just the floating garbage, and we have to process this. And what we are doing here now is that we are using artificial intelligence, machine learning systems, very modern technology to analyze the trash the moment we take it out of the river, okay? And then we process it very normal. But the important part is that we have now a digital component. And this digital component helps us to do three things. We can monitor, we can inform and educate, and we can create a role model for the citizen. How this is working? We are taking the data, we know exactly what we take out of the river, okay? And we put this data into a mobile app and then to a web app so that people can access this data. And why is this so great for me? Because now I can go to the mayor and tell him, Sir Mayor, you have protected the ocean this month of so and so much kilograms of trash. Exactly, sir. But in fact, we want to publish this list not just only to the municipality, but we want to publish it to our government, to the United Nations Sustainable Development Report, so we can prove to the whole world that we are not the big polluter anymore. With clear numbers, we show the world exactly the success of our effect. That is the great part about the monitoring. In business, we call this KPIs. Key performance indicators. And if you reach your KPIs, that is good. The next important thing what we have is now we open the MRFs also for adjoining communities and let them start to do slowly, konti lang, the same thing that my mother is doing in Europe, bringing their trash there and segregating it the way responsible countries are doing it. And we have now the means, because again, we analyze everything which comes in and count it automatically. So we can give now public awardings to those people who are participating. And we do this scalable from the smallest barangay. And we use a trick which I developed. It's when I saw what's happening on the barangays, I came to the idea of the Super Bowl. You all know the American Super Bowl, the most expensive advertising in the world. Bakit? Because everybody is watching it. So we do the same in the basketball tournaments and the basketball games once a month on the barangay court, on the municipality courts, in the national, scalable up to the National Basketball League. We use the 15 minutes break times in between, and we give recognitions and awards to those people who are doing the responsible thing, and we show them to the whole nation. We put a face to the responsible Filipino. And we bring it in all the media nationwide. So people will see these are the heroes connected with the numbers. The Philippines protected the oceans, and I will tell you the numbers later because they are huge. A huge amount of trash we stopped, and we can prove it to you, to the world, and these are the people who are helping. So this system will motivate citizens to finally bring more of their own household garbages to the MRFs. That's the long-term effect. Okay, so because this is the topic, we have two situations. We have a long-run future solutions for the change of the mindset of the Filipinos, which is taking too slow, and we have an immediate impact through our plastic plug project, which makes it immediately clear that it makes immediately the ocean protected. So these two things are playing together. Like our brain, the solution has two sides. One is technological, and the other is emotional. So, Sir Marcus, Sir Henry, whenever I have a great idea, I have to start look around. And when I look around, I see immediately that somebody before me already had that great idea. So I'm not a big inventor. I cannot say I'm a great inventor. Actually, in 2014, Baltimore already did exactly that. They used a water-driven trash collector. Wow. And since 2014, this collector has gobbled up millions of pounds of trash with huge and fantastic results. So this is not just a crazy idea of an old guy. This is really something which is proven in the world already for many years. We have merely laid out now the schematics and how it has to be built, what kind of items we need. We need a water wheel, we need a conveyor belt, and so on and so on. And our goal is now to pluck the top 120 rivers of the Philippines. And now comes a moment which will make you shiver, ladies and gentlemen. If we do the top 120 rivers only, we will have 1 million kilogram per month protected our oceans from trash which goes in there, according to the numbers from Ocean Cleanup, and that is huge. That is a real change. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is what it is looking like. This is a schematic here. You can see there are these booms. The stuff is fed to the mouth of that water wheel. It's very easy. It's just a conveyor belt. There is a dumpster in the back. It's going to be exchanged. The dumpster is exchangeable. When one is full, we take it out and we have a new one. So a very, very simple system. The only complicated thing we have is this kind of a raking system in the front. It is really raking the things from the water onto the conveyor belt, and then they fall back then they're here into this trash bin. So that is the technical solution, but success comes only with the shift in society. I think this is what we learned today in this forum from all the speakers, and I agree 100% with all of them. So we need, on top of the immediate impact of our water wheel, also the inspiration and motivation campaign. And this means we use, again, this time high-tech, to drive the emotion through our campaign proud.ph, where we have a fully automated system which makes it possible, for example, for corporations to jump into the awarding process and put on top of the recognition certificate also some kind of vouchers, for example. So local and national corporations can now participate in the education campaign, and the money does not go to us as the foundation. It goes directly to the LGUs who are doing it, and the vouchers go directly to the citizens who are awarded. So this is the complete workflow for it. It's really taking a lot of time to explain all of this. Just trust me with two important topics. Number one, when we showed this to our future partners, hopefully future partners, many of them have already agreed. The CEO of Microsoft told us that in the Philippines, one problem is that if government units, for example, our mayor is now publishing the numbers and says, oh, we have 11 million kilograms of trash protected from the ocean, then some people will say, oh, he's lying. So the government is always faking numbers. That's a typical stereotype in the population. So we are implementing a system which comes from the electronic money. It's called blockchain, and this blockchain open ledger system makes it impossible to fake data. So our data will be safe and secure and totally compliant and transparent for everybody. This goes directly in the open data exchange to the United Nations databases. We exchange our data in real time, daily, to every United Nations organization, which means at the end to every scientist in the world, to every student in the world, and they can access our data in real time. And we use the data, as I showed before, for monitoring, for social media recognition, and for this kind of awarding system, which I showed you before here. And this awarding system is the core for the emotional aspect of it. And another cool thing we are doing with all this data, why do we want to know exactly how many Coca-Cola bottles and Mountain Dew bottles we took out of the water? Because we can use this data now when it comes to the disposal of the materials, and use the analysis and high tech to drive a real cycle economy. It was really beautiful to see before already the different kinds of recycling. There is burning of that stuff, but there is something which is called real cycle economy, and that means you take the old bottle and you make a new bottle out of the old bottle, excuse me. In order to do this, you need to have exactly only one type of plastic. And this is what our system is doing. It counts exactly. We took so and so many bottles of that brand out. Then we inform digitally, automatically, the logistics partners who are helping us to bring those bottles now back to the plant. And in Cavite, in a few months, I think it is every day now almost, I don't know when it happens, COVID has destroyed a lot of plants, but in Cavite, the Philippines built the first real cycle economy plant, which is capable of creating up to 12 times a new bottle out of the old ones. And that is what I call real cycle economy, and we support it through our high-tech initiative here. Last week, and this is why I'm a little bit tired and exhausted, I suddenly got on Monday a call that we are invited and selected among 30 United Nations development projects. We were selected for the Microsoft Global Hackathon by a European team. And a team of experts, global experts, spent the last 4 days working with me up to 12 hours a day onto helping us to fine-tune our ideas and concepts, to start coding already, and to help us with criticism and with new ideas. Some of the things I showed you today are already, thanks to that hackathon, new fantastic ideas to enhance this project even more. And the heartwarming thing was we have leadership personalities around the world supporting us with this. And the hackers here who were in that team, 5 of the hackers who were in that team, after the last hackathon, the computer was closed, everything official was done. They told me that they are so inspired by their project that they are willing to continue their support for us, and they are willing to mentor and coach the Filipino volunteers who are continuing to working on that project. Last not least, we have also been selected to be a part of Project Amplify. That is a collaboration between the Microsoft Research Institute in India. So we are talking about the most modern science technology research institute and Accenture. And in spite of the fact that this is a startup program, and I told you before, we do not sell anything, so we make no profit. We don't sell anything, we don't earn any money. But Project Amplified was so impressed with our project that they selected us to be as the only organization which is not an entrepreneur and a startup to be also supported in this project. That means we get free computer licenses for our Pinoy volunteers. We get all the top tools which are used by top corporations in the world, and we are able to get also the cloud data, which is important because we send our data, as I said, daily into the cloud, so we can exchange our data in real time. Everybody in the Philippines can take out a mobile phone or go to his computer, pop up our website, and will see immediately exactly how much trash the Philippines stopped from entering the ocean. And if you saw our little video, then you know that this is making the Philippines the role model for all of Southeast Asia, because all the other countries have the same problem, no? They have the same problem. They don't have money, they have rivers, they have a lot of trash. Our solution, once it is proven to the world, will be implemented by all the other countries in Southeast Asia, and we will make the Philippines not proud only inside the country and towards the world as our own protection of the ocean, but also as a role model to other countries.
Yep.
We were also selected by the Superfund 10% for the Ocean, an organization who claims that only 1% of the worldwide donations are going to the ocean. And they claim that we need to raise that to 10% in order to really make a difference on the ocean. And they have done initial payout, and they selected the 100 best organizations worldwide who are having the best ideas to really protect the ocean. And I'm humbled and thankful to say that 10% for the ocean chose us as a partner in these 100. So the system is clear. Existing river cleanup machines are unrealistic. They don't help us really. Our system is not only low maintenance and super cheap, it's also carbon-free, and with the high-tech cognitive services and the educational system and the motivational system, we're going to have a huge change in the awareness already. And when it comes to the ocean plastic pollution, which is where my heart is and my pain is, all the destruction we are doing in God's creation out there, we are going to have an immediate maximal impact. I presented this already to a couple of LGUs, and since we do not ask them for money, in opposite, we are helping them with finding government money to set up the MRFs. We are giving free consulting, the complete the complete blueprints and tutorials for the water wheels are Creative Commons. That means it's open source. Everybody can use it for free. We are not selling anything. So therefore, we have very positive response. And we already started with the first concepts for the pilot project in order to prove first the pilot. Of course, you need a proof of concept first. So talking to mayors was relatively easy. There was a certain point when they understood that I am focusing on their problems too. It's not just for us to take all the trash out of the river, which is our responsibility as a nation and as a human being and as a Christian. But we also focus on solutions for the mayor, how to handle now these vast amounts of trash. And we see so many wonderful activities all around the world, but especially the problem is these cleanups, we cannot continue doing them forever and ever. So I hope that these pictures in 2 to 3 years will get smaller and smaller, lower and lower necessary. So thank you so much. My message for you today here is, of course, being in Legazpi, we would like to invite Sir Engineer Ray Rico and Sir Engineer Ibo and Sir Cano and, of course, Mayor Noel Rosal to consider participating in our pilot project. And I have something which is very personal for me. I'm very glad and happy. And this is my birthday present to the DZGB 63. We are thrilled to launch officially here today, in celebration of your birthday, the engineering design competition. Which is funded with 250,000 pesos for the winners.
Wow.
So congratulations to your 63rd birthday. This is our birthday present. Today, here in this event, we are launching, our website is already prepared, the engineering design competition for the Kawang Pinoy Basura Wheel. So what we are looking for now is the genius of the Filipinos. I could have gone and hired some Chinese engineers and try to build this thing. But what we want to do is we want to reach out to the young people in order to engage them in this and make them come up with their best ideas and solutions. After all, it's their world tomorrow. And we will find now the best solutions regarding to the requirements of being very inexpensive, cheap local materials, simple methods of building it together, beautiful tutorials and blueprints, which makes it easy for every LGU to build it with their local teams easily. So that is the idea of Kawang Pinoy Basura Wheel. And we do not only invite students, we also invite every inventor in the country who thinks that he could participate in this. 250,000 pesos, along with some other cool things. As said before already, we are also having some non-cash prizes. There will be internships, there will be used computers which are donated, and we are creating a documentary of the whole project. And in this documentary, all our volunteers and all our participants will be highlighted. And we hope that in 3 years, this documentary will showcase the world how the Philippines changed it. I want to end my presentation with a Greek philosopher. Plato said, this city is what it is because our citizens are what they are. And that was really deep for me. Because that really means we cannot wait for our leaders and governments to do things for us. It is us, citizens, who create the city. And that means it's our responsibility. Maraming salamat. I invite you heartily to our website, plasticplug.org, and here is the menti.com. If you go on this page and punch in this number, you can ask me questions and I will answer them. Even during the next days, I will answer all the question backs. Maraming salamat, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Nick. Thank you so much. I have to take this question, Sir Nick, for you from Randolph Sunyega. How much will a water wheel cost for, say, barangay level? Mr. Nick?
Yes, Paul. That is
example,
perfect.
If a barangay is interested in buying your water wheel, how much will it cost?
As I explained, thank you very much. Maraming salamat for this question. As I explained before, we are not selling products we don't.
See.
So first of all, we would not sell anything to you. You cannot buy it from me. I don't want your money. Keep your money, do your own things with it. But what we are doing is we are providing material list exact blueprints and a tutorial. Nowadays, all the people learn everything from YouTube tutorials. Now the question goes more into how much investment would that be for the barangay. People are starting to count. People are starting to count their money. Do I have enough to get them basura?
Yeah. So you will provide the material.
No, we cannot provide. No, we cannot provide the material. Sorry, sir. I am financing all of this out of my. But let me tell you. Let's do it step by step, sir.
Go on.
One step first.
Yeah.
Step number one: the engineering contest. One of the winning requirements to win this engineering contest is going to be this team who creates a water wheel with the lowest cost. I will give you some kind of ballparks. In the year 2017, a group of students in the Philippines, in a university in the south, has already created the same idea as a paper.
Yeah.
And they did an estimate, and their estimate would give us a little bit of an overview, but their machine was a lot more simple than ours.
I see.
So, but with this estimate together, at the moment, I am aiming at a maximum of 15,000 to maximum 20,000 pesos material cost, if even necessary. Because, for example, we are using, in our structure, we are using a platform from old plastic bottles.
Yeah.
When you use the water wheel, we are using half-cut drums, plastic drums, old drums. So it's gonna depend on what materials, old materials you have available in your old basura. Maybe you can build your whole water wheel almost out of complete basura.
Yes.
But it will depend on the ideas and concepts the engineers, the students will bring to us now. But the goal is, of course, as cheap as possible. And then I would like to show another point of my presentation again. And that is when I told you that we have this digital system and we let now the companies participate here as partners. And on top of having these vouchers for the motivation campaign, I told you already no money goes to our foundation. We have a second thing in here, which is that companies can now adopt an LGU directly and support this LGU in the setup and the maintenance. So it's possible that one of our partners, maybe Jollibee, comes and says, yeah, hey, in Legazpi, we want to help you. We want to do that. And then they come to you as an LGU, and then they will help you paying all of this in order to build this. So that is really also an option which is supported through our digital partnership system. We are reaching out to 8 major global and national partners, 4 food and 4 non-food partners, in order to make our major 8 partnerships. And these will be the major driver. But we also offer national and regional and local companies to participate in that. What we give them is the Proud.ph campaign. Everything will run under Proud.ph, even the advertisings of the big companies. So imagine Coca-Cola's advertising will be, buy my Coca-Cola because it's so good. But when you're done drinking it, you have to bring it to the MRF, be a proud Filipino. So that as a complete message. And so the answer again, I cannot tell you exactly how much it is, but it will be very cheap or completely free of you if a company is adopting your local government and your unit. We have 120 water wheels in the Philippines, and they are in the estuaries with the maximum pollution, of course. But it is, of course, open and free for everyone who has a river with enough current that the water wheel is turning. It doesn't work in the esteros where there is no current, okay? To build your own ones.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Nick. Father Moy?
Very good.
I would like...
So, Kuya Nick, you are making us, the challenge is from Pasaway to Kadamay.
I would like to say thank you again. Maraming salamat.
Yeah, you're welcome po, Sir Nick. Thank you so much for your time and good luck to your advocacy here in the Philippines. Mabuhay. Alright, thank you so much, Mr. Nick Mitaksa. Mga tugang tungkol ba dyan sa Proud PH? Magayunan man sa kanya, no? Diba? So, sendang konsepto tungkol sa bagay na yan. Okay, so with that po, Father Momoy, that ends our presentation and program this afternoon, this morning. Balikan ta po. So, sa tuyang papel, Magkakaigwa kita short na, pero sa mga nagkumpalan ha, nag-text sa tuya di, nag-text, nag-join sa tuya na kuan, nag-join sa tuya tabi na Zoom, you will be receiving a t-shirt, anniversary t-shirt. Na-influensya na ako ni Mr. Mitak, sa kaya nag-English akong halipot eh. Sige, Father Moy, tabi, go on.
So, ang pinaka encapsulate tapos so Melvin pakikon tabi so last
so PowerPoint
slides.
Ni Father Momoy yan
Integral ecological development according to Laudato Si. Yan po si Pope ang ipoprovide naman sa ganyan. Ini pong ipigsasabi ni Pope na faith in integral development. The Church intends to propose a humanism that is up to the standards of God's plan of love in history, an integral and solidary humanism capable of creating new social, economic, and political order founded on the dignity and freedom of every human person to be brought about in peace, justice, and solidarity. Gusto sabihin, maging makatao lang po kita na apektado ang gabos na mina-shine sa gabos na aspeto kan sa tuyong pagkatao. Next slide, please. Ito po baga, sasabi po baga, talaylayan, the very concept of person born and matured in Christianity fosters the pursuit of a fully human development because person always signifies relationship, not individualism. Bako susadiri lang ang pag-iisip. It affirms inclusion, not exclusion. Unique and inviolable dignity, not exploitation. Freedom and constraint. Ipo, katapos, in care of creation, this is the heart of Laudato Si. The urgent challenge to protect our common home includes a concern to bring the whole human family together to seek a sustainable and integral development. For we know that things can change. The Creator does not abandon us and never forsakes His loving plan or repents of having created us. Humanity has still the ability to work together in building our common home. Taro sa mga magayono na inspiration po, ito po concept ni inspiration po ni Kuya Nick. Gabos kita may capacity kay ni. May gabos kita iga po ang capability kay ni. Dahil ang care of creation is not only care kang kapalibutan, kundi care for the next generation. Next slide, please. So care for our common home, for we are indeed together in this.
Sir, excuse me, would you share your screen, please?
Ayun. Oo nga pala. Nag-request so nasa Zoom na makishare doon sa screen. Di yata nakikita ng ating mga Zoom viewers. Thank you, sir, for that, for the reminders. Pakishare mo daw tabi para mahiling kang mga nasa Zoom. Oo.
Share screen.
Oo, share screen to our... Okay na? Okay. Sir, okay na po. Clear na po sa inyo yung mga nasa virtual, nasa Zoom?
Yung previous.
Apo. Okay na po?
Yung previous po na i-share.
Clear na po sa screen ng mga nasa virtual, nasa Zoom?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Go on po, Fire Momoy.
Okay, so hindi po ito pwedeng, kanina sinabi ni Kuya Nick, hindi po pwedeng LGU yan. Hindi lang pwedeng gobyerno yan. Kundi, sabi nga noon ni Senator Robert Kennedy, do not ask what the government can do for you, but ask what you can do for the government and for our people. Kaya, we are together in this. Kaya sinasabing impossible to kung government lang, kung mayor lang, impossible ito. But we are in this together for the care for our common home. Next slide, please. Concern for the environment thus needs to be joined to a sincere love for our fellow human beings, and unwavering commitment to resolving the problems of society. Kaya gabos po kita stakeholders po this. Kaya gabos po ini dahil nangangahulugan po ini na dahil po ini nangangahulugan na kung bako kang kapartido, bako kang kareligion, bako kang kababayan, gabos po kita involved with it. Sige po. So, yun naman sana. So, yun po ini and in some way this summary na sinasabi ta po hindi bako sana po ini ecologic or environmental, but this is also moral, and this is not only human, but this is also spiritual. Kaya sinasabi ta po bagang integral ecological development from ridge to rift development. Ang mga basura ta nahiling ta po, mga basura ta gabos po yan, basura po dahil ta misplaced ang lugar kay ini. Kaya sinasabi ta po bagang pagsasabi po bagang 3 R's, pero gusto kong dagdagan itong recycle, reduce, gusto kong sabihan pang refuse. Ano daw kung sa mga masunod na panahon, kung mapipwede, we have also kita gabos na tao, pwede man kitang makapag-refuse kapag iyan o halin mo niyan. Gusto ko kuta ng i-refuse ini.
Yeah. Okay.
Single-use plastic. Pero we have the moral responsibility na i-refuse ta kapag single-use plastic.
Opo. Thank you, Father Moy. So, bago kita mga tugang magdaman po sa awarding as awards of commitment and awarding of plaque of appreciation to our speakers and sponsors, we would like first to announce our winners para po sa tuyang t-shirt mo niya na pagkaaga. So mga radio listeners, yan po, nahiling po nito sa pahiling kayo ng t-shirt kay Padingmar. Okay, so mga nagdadamog tabi sa radyo na nag-text ka sa bago, ini po ang mga winners natin. We have 20 winners from the different areas of Bicol region. Thank you so much sa mga radio listeners natin. Ada Dizon, Cruzada Legazpi, Ermas Semanes, Biga Legaspi, ano ba to? Sambastagal Kamalig Albay, Alvin Bercasio from Washington Drive, Legaspi, Romeo Carmona, Ems Barrio 3, Agnes Llaneta, Sipi Daragalbay, Agnes Llaneta, then, ano ma'am? Inform na lang, medyo mahaba to. Basta po, may winners po kita sa naghiling po sa Facebook Live, may winners po duman. And then sa mga nagdangog sa radyo po, may winners na tabi man. And then so, mga barangay officials po na nakasasum. Medyo dakulong kaya ini, mahalaba kitang masyado. I-text na lang po kamo kung ka po sumarisibin in DZGB anniversary t-shirt. Okay? So,
okay.
Yes, madumana po kita, Padingmar. Sa words of commitment. Padingmar, go ahead.
Okay, so ready na ang VTRs natin para po sa words of commitment sa tuya po ng mga kababayan.
The Albay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, ECCI, greets all participants as well as our congratulations to the organizer spearheaded by PBN DZGB in coming up with this forum on integral ecological development. The gathering is very timely to assess how we can maintain the natural beauty of the extraordinary landscape that can only be found in our beloved places. This is the perfect time for a multi-sectoral approach for us all to get involved in keeping our environment safe and sound today for the next generations to come. With the resource speaker experts today, it is guaranteed that this forum will serve as a milestone and an eye-opener for everyone to love more our ecosystem, conserving the greens, the flora and fauna on our hands, so apparent, so real, and so valuable. Earth is what we all have in common. With this, Albay Chamber of Commerce and Industry is one with you in the protection, preservation, management, and restoration of natural environments and the ecological communities for current public benefits and sustainable social and economic utilization. Making Legazpi City rivers and coastal areas clean, green, and healthy. Diyos mabalos, asin marhay na aldaw sa gabos.
Magay na aga, tabi sa Indoga Boss. To our respected hosts and esteemed guest speakers, good morning. And of course, to the listeners and viewers of DZGB AM and online. Magay na aga, tabi sa Indoga Boss. I hope all of you are well. And thank you all for gathering in today's forum on integral ecological development with the theme Making Legazpi Cities, Rivers, and Coastal Areas Clean, Green, and Healthy. As the chairman of the Legislative Committee on Environmental Protection here in the Sangguniang Panlungsod ng Legazpi, I am delighted to have all of these remarkable guests have an important talk on the assessment of river system in Legazpi City and on existing and future initiative by our government and non-government agencies, and rest assured that this project have our committee's full support that we adhere to the vision and mission in furthering the protection and conservation of Legazpi coastal areas. Thank you very much and congratulations DZGB 63rd anniversary. Mabuhay po.
Thank you, Councilor Buban.
Hello, DZGB. This is Councilor Gregorio Fernand Imperial, wishing you a very happy 63rd founding anniversary. And I will see you on the 16th of October via Zoom for the Forum on Integral Ecological Development. This is one of my advocacies. Cap Glenn Barcelon knows this. I've been very, very active in helping raise awareness for keeping our rivers clean, our city rivers network clean. And it's a very technical problem, but we have very technical minds, and we are and I'm very, very confident that with all of us working together, we can find a solution. So happy anniversary again, and I'll see you guys at the forum.
Marina aga sa Indoga Boss. Ako po si JP Lee, Presidente ng Liga ng mga Barangay sa Albay. Congratulate ko po ang PBN People's Broadcasting Network sa indang 63rd founding anniversary. So ngunyan daw magkakaigwa ka mong forum on environmental awareness. So magayon po ini na programa kang stasyon na nindo para magtaong giya sa mga barangay kung paano magkaigwa ki clean, green, and healthy environment. Ini po ang kaipuhan ta na sa tuyang kapalibutan para lalo kitang maging maswang. So, sa pangarang kaligan ng mga barangay, sinusuportan mi po ang sa indong proyekto, magayon na proyekto para sa satuyang kapalibutan. So, thank you very much po and happy anniversary to all. Salamat.
This is your 2022 incoming president of JCI Legazpi, Lawrence Farinas, and I would like to congratulate DZGB on its 63rd founding anniversary. And I, together with JCI Legazpi, show our support and help in DZGB's advocacy on keeping coastal areas and rivers of Legazpi City clean and healthy.
Alright, yan po sa tuyang mga partners and mga dadagdagan ta po yan, mga tugang sa mga maabot na daw. Okay, so digdi na po kita sa awarding of, tama ba, before or after kita sa picture natin? After ng awarding. Okay, after po ng awarding po, mga Zoom participants natin, magre-request po kami mamaya to open your camera for a picture taking. Okay? For a picture taking. Okay? Sige po. Okay, paki-plus na po sa screen ang satuya ng mga tatawanan plaque of recognition. Appreciation, ngunyan pong pag-aaga. Pating maano, basahon ta po ang tatawanan recognition. Mga speakers na po ini, ngunyan tabing aldaw, digdi po mga tugang sa tuyang forum. Richard, paki-flash na po. Pating maar, Certificate of Appreciation to
Honorable Noel Rosal, City Mayor, Legazpi City, in grateful appreciation to his unselfish services as resource speaker on forum on integral ecological development with the theme Making Legazpi City's rivers and coastal areas clean, green and healthy, held on October 16, 2021 via Zoom. Given the 16th day of October 2021 at Imperial Court Subdivision, Legazpi City. Signed, Brenda Bayona Locsin, President, PBN Broadcasting Network Incorporated. Signed, Glenn J. Barcelon, Executive Vice President, PBN Broadcasting Network Incorporated, and concurrent Station Manager, DZGB AM.
And of course, the same certificate also be given to Reverend Father Efren Momy Borromeo, Environmental Advocate. Yan. Father Moy, salamaton ha.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Next, please. We have Mr. Carlo Lorenzana, Senior Environmental Management Specialist, DNR EMB 5 EMED Solid Waste Management and LGU Relations Section. Next, please. Paringmar.
Also, certificate of appreciation given to Miss Angela P. Año-Nuevo, Environmental Management Specialist 2, DNR EMB 5 EMED Ambient Marketing and Technical Services Section.
Next, please. Pwede.
To Engineer Ray Benedict Rico, Project Development Officer 4, City Planning and Development Office Technical Head, Environmental Sector, LCPDC.
Also, we have a certificate of appreciation to Engineer Voltaire Acosta, Project Manager, HUCCI, Project UN Habitat Philippines. Thank you so much, sir, for your participation.
Thank you very much, Engineer Clemente Ibo, City Engineer of Legazpi.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Engineer Ibo. Next, please. We have certificate of appreciation to Mr. Cicero Canyo, OIC, OCNR, Legazpi.
Also, thank you very much to Mr. Nick Mitaxa, Executive Director, Proud PH.
We are
Next,
proud
please.
of you.
Yes, thank you also to Madam Rosemary Ray, President, Albay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Albay, Legazpi. Next, please, we have...
Also, thank you to Councilor Ismael Buban III, Chairman, Committee on Environment, Sangguniang Panglungsod, Legazpi.
Of course, we have Councilors Gregorio Fernand Imperial, Commodore Albay Youth Club.
Also to Board Member Joseph Philip Lee, President Liga ng Mga Barangay.
Okay, next please, we have certificate of appreciation to Mr. Lawrence Farinas, incoming 2022 President of JCI Legazpi.
Also to Miss Leia Benaventura, President, JCI Legazpi, Dawani.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much po sa mga partners natin. And thank you po sa mga sponsors natin ngayon pong pag-aga sa satuyang virtual forum. Okay, picture taking tayo.
Picture.
Okay,
Picture. May I request everyone to please to kindly open your cameras, tabi, para po sa for a 5 seconds picture taking. Para sa documentation natin sa tuyang virtual forum hindi po sa DZGB. Okay?
Ay.
Okay na ba?
Chad.
Na.
Oo.
Nakabukas na, Chad.
Abangan nindo kami ni Father Momy sa Sabado. May episode kami tungkol sa sarupang edisyon mga tugang sa tuyang programa ang Radyo Klinika. Okay? Okay Eldering. About eldering.
Gerontology and Geriatrics
Yes.
Medicine.
Para sa mga seniors yan ha. Mga seniors. na pasisiring man ako duman. Madali na eh. Okay na ba? Paki-open po ng mga cameras please, yung mga ko natin. Yeah, very good. Thank you so much. Wow, thank you so much po mga participants natin. Thank you. Very good. Okay po. Thank you. Thank you so much.
God bless.
Okay na po. Pwede na? Another one. Okay na, salamaton po maray, mga nasa Zoom natin. Thank you so much po. Saludo po kami sa Endo. Salamat po sa Endong partisipasyon. Okay, sa pangalan po sa kuya mga partners ko na pag-aaga. Father Moy.
Okay. Salamat po nun. Congratulations sa kuya. 63rd anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Baringmar.
Salamaton sa mga nagpartisipar po. Congratulations sa Giraray sa Indugabos and sa Tuyaman sa DZGB 63rd year anniversary.
Thank you. Sa pangaran po mga tugangkan sa muyang mga pag-iribalig di Chief Technician Ramer Tanay, John Napolis po sa muyang partner, si Kuya Manny Tutanyes. Ini pong sarupang bagutang magiging kaiba si Nemi, yan Si Nemi, and thank you po sa muyang mga program assistants na sa production team niya mo. Yan po dyan si Ate Angel na Mustasa.
And
we have Angie. Ano nga Ans Galero. Yeah.
Ang babaeng walang pahinga.
Ans Galero.
Yeah.
We have Richard Astor. Thank you kay Arben Laan.
Yan. Thank you very much kay Victoria.
Sa mga kasama na po sa OKFM. Tuyang. Thank you so much Thank you so much po kay Toyang, kay SM Sugar Ray ng OKFM, Legaspi, si Nonoy Palaboy ng OKFM, si Kuya thank you so much po.
Salamat kay Henry Boy Mata, ang mata ng DZGB sa kalsada.
Opo. And of course, later po, ang forum na ini mahiling po sa SM. And Ayala Malls, mahiling po dyan sa mga mall na yan. Tod-tod lang ang forum na ini live po. Pag nagalakaw-lakaw kamo duman, mahiling po nindo kaming tulo sa Father Momoy. Sa pangaran po kan sa muyang Presidente, Ma'am Brenda Locsin. Sa muya pong Chairman ng the Board, Sir Jose Locsin Jr. And of course, sa muya tabing Executive Vice President as in concurrent Station Manager kan DZGB. Kami pong tatlo nagsasabing Salamat po. Goodbye. Mabuhay.
Ay, thank you. Ayos.